We're live, baby. All right. Let's see what's going on. Well, I already blasted it out saying that we would be live, but I had not, that was a little early, so we can still post that we're going live. You mailed some stuff out today?
Yeah, I mailed out a sketch cover and a commission.
Hell yeah. What was the sketch cover? It was the I saw it. Hold on. I just saw it. It was good. Absolute Batman.
No, it was Martian Manhunter.
Oh, you did an Absolute Batman one though, right?
Yeah, I've done two. I did two of them. I've been doing them, just banging them out because I
Those
got a
look good,
bunch of
dude.
them.
I saw one of them where it was like going over like the logo
Thanks,
that you
man.
had done. I like that one. I'm just trying to use Instagram more lately.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah. I noticed.
But I saw that post on there. I thought it looked good.
Yeah, just I got a bunch of sketch covers lying around and I got free time, so I'm just banging them out, trying to make some money off them.
That's cool. I was typing in Cody Rhodes, and I typed in Shody Rhodes. Whoops. I was gonna hit him with this one right here.
What do you guys want to talk about?
So what do you want to talk about?
So what do you guys want to talk about? Yeah, man. It's been an interesting few days. You know what's funny is right before some of this drama popped off, I was just thinking like, damn, it's been so long. I think we might have been talking about it like with Sophie or somebody, where we were like, God, it's been so long since we had like comics drama. Like during COVID, it felt like everybody was inside, so there'd be like comics drama popping off like every other day, and we'd be in our day group chat working and talking about this hot drama. But I feel like lately, because everything else in the world is so horrible, it's like nobody's even focused on any comics drama. But it's been a good sort of a little escapist fun to just talk about some stupid shit,
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching oh, go ahead.
There's so much, like you said, there's so many more serious topics and issues going on right now, like to argue,
to like to focus on, and to like that it feels like insignificant and stupid,
Yeah.
But on that note, I was watching the Noah Samson stream. He's been raising money for Gaza, for UNRWA on YouTube, and he's been going for like, I think it's on day 5 or 6, but he's been having just all these different like YouTube commentators, and it's been really fascinating to watch just like these different people who I've watched separately in different sort of spaces. It's all like broadly under the same umbrella, but watching them talk about like how their content reflects like the things that are on the forefront of their mind. Like Noah Samson, the guy who hosting it, he used to make sort of drama that's like, oh, isn't Andrew Tate bad? And like, look at this like stupid right winger, I'm gonna own him on YouTube. But he just felt like his heart wasn't in it. So then, because like he's doing that, and then he goes on Twitter and he just sees like dead babies and stuff, and it's just like, it's like soul crushing a little bit. And like, I feel it too. Like, it's hard to care about comic shit sometimes when there's just so much awful shit going on in the world. Like the act of genocide is like one thing, but then there's like also, like today they're trying to pass this big beautiful bill, they're calling it, which is just going to like destroy so many lives, for tax cuts for the rich. So then there's that also. There's just like Trump continuously shoving dynamite into the economy. So like, you know what I mean? And then there's also like
Ukraine and Russia and India, Pakistan,
and then deportations, sort of free speech being trampled down, trans rights, all that. There's all these things going on, and so it almost feels like stupid to get involved with this kind of shit, like just this kind of low level drama. But one of the things I realized when I was watching the stream is that people love that stuff. Like, people love the petty interpersonal dramas because it's something like actually tangible, and it feels like when you can tell somebody like, shut up, like you're saying something stupid, you like person on the other side of the screen or whatever, like at least that's something you can do because you can't tell people who are like in positions of power to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like
No,
there's something a little empowering about it. And also like there's something like, even though it's frivolous, there's something of like, you can feel the shift in a culture. And there's, when you're a comics fan, like it's such a niche culture that you can make a direct impact when you know, voice your opinion about that thing, right?
Mhm.
So like I get it. I get why people, when they, especially like it within the world that we exist within, which is like comic spaces and stuff, I get why people are like very excited to use what little voice they do have to voice support or opposition against a person, an idea, a thing, whatever, right? So like I understand that. How do you feel about that kind of thing? Because I feel like, well, first of all, this is a podcast where we do not talk about comics, we do not talk about politics. But today, that's all out the window.
I feel similar to you.
It's out the window, baby. Because you know what I mean? We have shit to talk about.
Amazing.
I mean, you called it insignificant and stupid. That's right up my alley. I mean, that's who we are. So.
But I mean, even sometimes when we're talking, you'll be like, "This is stupid. I don't want to hear. I don't care about this. Let's move on."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I get it. You know. But and this sort of feels like that kind of thing. You know, like this feels like what are we bothering for? Like,
Well, I agree to some extent, but also it's kind of is what we do for a living. So it's our
yeah,
industry. So
it's
I
something
feel
that
like
we
if
love
anyone,
too. You know.
yeah, it would dedicate our lives to this, both of us and all of our friends. So I feel like at the very least we should be able to talk about it. You know,
Yeah.
you know, we don't have to like get petty and you know,
Mean spirited and
yeah, do ad hominem attacks on people and talk
I
about
do.
stuff.
You know, I probably will do it a little bit.
Well, it's your
If I'm
prerogative.
being
You're the
honest,
man.
like let's
You know?
just be real. You know what I mean? Let's just
Yeah.
talk about it. You know what I mean? That's what I do.
Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot!
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it.
That's kind of
That's
like
all good
that's
fun.
kind of what I'm good at. You know what I mean?
Well, I say like the way just to get like the way you dealt with it.
Competitive.
That's our boy. The way you dealt with it, it was the best way. I think using your art to speak on it is first and foremost, you know, the best way to address things like this.
Sure.
Like I saw Ron Wimberly from Prince of Cats did a little strip too, which I thought
Mhm.
was pretty funny. And yeah, and I see a lot of comic people talking about it. So it's not just us. I don't feel like we're the only ones talking about this, or we're going to be like piling on, or you know, being overly petty when it feels like a talking point. Because I feel like a lot of people feel the same way as you do. That you just said, like, find something we can talk about, that we can affect, that we can touch. That's not like, you know, yelling at a politician on Twitter who's never going to read it and
Even
give
in
a
like a
shit anyway.
minor way, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Even in a minor way, even just to
Right.
have like, even where like it's something we have expertise in, you know, because what the fuck do we know about geopolitics, or you know, I mean, ultimately we're just like everyone else reading shit
We
on the
often
internet.
say we know nothing. We know nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we
All
are
I
one of the
know is that
last
you
like
and I, we are two motherfuckers. Go ahead.
we're one of the last killers, like 250 killers that are left.
As we got true dogs in us. That's the thing. That's how we sound when we're like operating. You know what I'm saying?
Oof, oof.
So yeah, that's the context behind like just talk. I wanted to talk a little bit before we started about like why we're gonna delve into this, because it's good. It may seem like petty, like why drudge it up, you know? And I'll be honest, I had people from my family that were like, "Didn't you say you weren't gonna do this exact same thing that you're doing right now?" Like, because you know I put the things on Instagram, and I knew a lot of my family's on Instagram. It cross post to Facebook. nobody knows who Alex Graham is. You know what I mean? That's the truth of the matter. Is like I went after this person who is irrelevant, frankly, but not irrelevant to me, and we'll get into that later. But so yeah, I kind of wanted to just do like a little explanation up front of like why I bothered to do this, why we're talking about it on this show. Also, partially because I feel like it's hot right now. It's in the culture. Like, what are we gonna do? Not talk about what's popping? You know? So
Yeah, and we do a
there's gonna
show
be
every Wednesday. So like, if there's comic drama popping up and we're on doing a show, I mean, we should probably mention it. You know,
Give me it however I can get it.
you know what I mean? That's what we're here about. We're about giving it however we can get it. So yeah, so Alex Graham, let's start with Alex Graham. Alex Graham is a cartoonist. She worked for Fantagraphics. She's an indie cartoonist. She had a book called Dog Biscuit that I think was kind of popping, I guess. It got her a book at Fantagraphics, I think. And then she has some other book coming out. I mainly just know of her from being sort of within a group of people. Like, there is a group of comics creators that sort of like at the head of it is sort of like Simon Hanselman, who does a bunch of other indie comics. Like, they're all these kind of comics are the same. You know what I mean? Like, I'll sort of try describing it. They're sort of like comic books that are sort of like irreverent, sort of intentionally sort of mean-spirited or edgelord cartoons with like a downbeat sensibility that are about anthropomorphic animals who jack off and do drugs. And they often, if they have tits, they're like droopy tits, no bras. You know what I mean? They're not hot. They're sort of like, that's the energy of it, you know?
Okay, I gotcha.
And so like, to be honest with you, if I'm being super honest, I've never read them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that just based on me looking at them from afar. But here's the thing is how old am I? 37, 38? I'm too old for that, bro. I'm way too old for that. I cannot be bothered to read cartoon comic books about animals that jack off and do drugs. That's not my thing. It'll never be my thing. Maybe if I was in my 20s, right? And that's the thing is these books are for more like Zoomers. They're for younger people than me. I'm a person who I'm older. I have wisdom beyond my years, even, I would say. I mean, I know you didn't even know what they were, these comics, I'm assuming.
No,
you never heard of
didn't.
Alex Graham. The name had never.
No, the only it came back to me once. I'm sure you're going to talk about it later when you brought up your past history with this person.
Yeah.
Your online interaction, and I remember that. But outside of that, I had no idea. When I read the thing, I thought it was some right-wing chud guy complaining about woke culture or something, because I saw the name Alex Graham, and I just assumed that it was a dude. And,
yeah. So let's. You know what? We're about to come up on the time, so let's start this off. Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Cool Meat Podcast number 27. It's the best comic podcast where we do not talk about comics or politics ever, except for today. You know what I mean? Why? Because Ramon Villalobos, me, your host, it was an accident. I fell into being in the middle of this comics drama. You know what I mean? Now, am I proud of it? No. I'm not proud of it. I said I wasn't going to do this anymore. Everybody keeps applauding me, but I said I'm not going to get in the middle of comics drama anymore. Tony, I promised that to you.
You did.
I promised it to all kinds of people. I said, I'm not doing it anymore. It's not worth it. People get too upset with me. I feel like I'm a distraction. I feel like I don't provide a useful voice in the conversation anymore. Maybe I did at one point, but at this point, I shouldn't do it. But you know what?
The American people are tired of women.
It is what it is. So I had to stamp up when I saw a nasty woman named Alex Graham make a comic strip that it wasn't attacking me. Let's be honest. It wasn't attacking me at all. I didn't even catch a stray in this thing. Right? You might have caught a little bit of a stray, but not me.
Me? What did I do?
Well, we'll get into it when we start looking at the comics. We're about to do that in a second.
Oh, okay.
But I was completely left out of this. She did not mention me even a little bit, not even on accident. And yet I woke up, or here's the thing, is I stood up all night working on some work, right? I mean, like, I'm up until 7:30 in the morning, which is pretty late for me, you know?
It's late for anybody. No one should be staying up that late.
I do it every now and then. When I have to pull an all-nighter, sometimes it has to happen. So I'm up till 7:30 in the morning, and my boys in one of my group chats, they post the link to this thing at 6 o'clock, but I don't see it because I'm so locked in. You know what I'm saying? I'm so locked in that I don't even see this fucking thing. I am just drawing my ass off. I finish what I'm working on. I go to bed. I sleep peacefully for a solid 4 hours. But I have to get up in the morning, and because I'm such a good person, I have to give a friend of mine a ride to the hospital. Give it up for me being a good person. I'm a great guy. Okay? Selfless. So I give my friend a ride to the hospital, and while they're there, I'm going to take a walk to Target. I'm buying sunscreen. I never wore sunscreen in my life. Why, Tony? Why don't I wear sunscreen?
You're Mexican. Why would you
That's
wear
right,
sunscreen?
exactly. Because God has blessed me with beautiful skin that is a natural, it naturally, repels the sun, or it soaks it up and turns it into strength, So I've never worn sunscreen. Never once. I've never been sunburned, maybe since I was like 10 years old. We went to Coswell State Park or something, right? So I go to Target, and now it's like 11:30, or I don't know, whatever time it is. I look at my phone, and I'm just catching up on the stuff that I missed while I was sleeping for those 4 beautiful hours, or however long it was. And I see a comic strip by somebody named Alex Graham. And I'm like, that name's so familiar, but I do not remember what it is. Like, who this person is, right? I know that in my head, I filed away Alex Graham goof. You know what I mean? Pay no mind list. But in, like, if you would have said, what did they actually do to, I couldn't tell you. It, like, they didn't leave an impact. They just annoyed me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I read the comic, and I gotta say, I was infuriated. There's a lot of applause today on the stream. You know what I mean?
Is your back okay?
Like, I don't know why they should have been.
Is your back okay from all the pat?
They should have said, no, we don't like this. You said you weren't going to get involved with drama, and here you are being involved with drama, right? But here's the strip. I want to read it with you, every word of it, because at the end of this, they're going to say that we were, that people took it out of context, that they misconstrued the meaning. So I want us to go over every panel. There's only 12 of them. It's a short comic, by the way. So I want to go over every panel, and then we'll talk about if what the context is, what she's trying to say. You know what I mean? So here we go.
Okay.
This is The State of the Culture by Alex Graham.
Beta.
Okay, here we go.
But I'm glad you got that fixed, because if you didn't have that soundboard today, you would have been fucked. You were stressing last night. Oh, last night you were stressing.
It just adds a lot. I don't think I lose any. I was last night, little behind the curtain stuff for the audience. Last night I was stressing. So here's The State of the Culture by Alex Graham. This is some of Alex's other work, by the way. As you can see, it's a lot of images of like cartoon animals smoking, looking sad. It is what it is. So here it goes. Alex Graham. She says on the caption, let's keep making and judging art through a lens of fear. That's probably healthy for the culture, right? Poop emoji. Tony, what did I tell you the other day about this poop emoji?
No, you didn't say anything.
Do you remember?
The poop emoji? No.
I hate it. It's the worst emoji in the world.
Why? What do you have
against
against the poop emoji?
It disgusts me. I don't like that it has eyes. That's number one. Like I'm also not a guy who's like a scat guy. I know there's a lot of people who love shit, right? Shit does not. It makes me disgusted. I don't think normal people should like shit.
No,
I don't
I
think
don't
that
think
normal
normal
people
people
should
do.
be.
Like,
But I see people with clothes with this little shit emoji on it. It's got little eyes and it's smiling. It's a living embodiment of decay and death. This is the end of culture. People using this emoji. You know what I mean? That's just my feeling about it. That's how I've always felt about it. I've never liked it. If I've ever used that in my life, I would be shocked. I don't think I've ever used it once.
I've used it for Hangman Page. I do the cowboy and then the poop emoji. It's cowboy shit.
I've never used it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
You gotta
get into
stop.
the
You gotta quit with the self-congratulations. It's. I see Henry Barajas in there.
Oh, my guy Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Henry, and I love Evan Salad Bar. My Evan Salazar, my dog. Allison Sampson, another one of my dogs. These are a lot of my dogs because on Instagram
What did Allison say?
You know up top. Allison says, "This is awful. You obviously have a very high opinion of yourself, but there's no need to shit on other people. What is wrong with you?"
Amen, sister.
I keep getting fucking notifications. Everybody wants to talk to me now that I'm doing my show live. Nobody had anything to say to me when I wasn't doing the show, but now people keep messaging me. No, mute server. Okay, sorry about that. So my friend Ilus Claire says maybe you should read Valley Valley. I don't know what Valley Valley is, but I'm assuming I don't know. I'm gonna like that anyways. My boy Max says mediocrity. I wouldn't. Damn it. You know what? Let's get into this because I think my thing is starting to trip out. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I hear you good.
Okay, there's a delay. Okay. There was a delay, so let's let it get caught up, and then let's get back going, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Say something.
I hear you just fine.
Okay. So now we're going to go back into the comic, and we're just going to do the commentary. Here it is. The state of the culture. So here we go. We got Alex Graham. She's got this comic, State of the Culture, and we see this shape. I don't know what this is supposed to be. I know it's somebody looking at a group of people, but from behind, I can't tell what this animal or what this thing is. Is it a person wearing a hat? This is no shape. This is almost like a tooth upside down. This is almost like somebody putting their arms up. You know what I mean? But it doesn't look like a head of any type of thing that I've ever seen. So already I'm confused. I'm concerned. Also, the thought bubble, it's going down to the neck. Is the sweater's neckline thinking this? Or is the thing thinking this? Normally, thought bubbles come out of the person's head. But as you can see, this comes right out of their fucking neck. So what is that supposed to mean? I'm not a comics genius. I've never been given any awards. I've never been given an Ignatz, never been given an Eisner, never been given Harvey, never been given anything. Okay? I am just a ham and egger. I'm just a fucking lunch pail ass artist. I'm a doofus. I make superhero comics. They're for children. Hold on a second. I make low grade art for morons, but even I know thoughts come from your fucking head, not your neckline, your head. Okay, that's first of all. So all from the jump, we got a problem. Okay. But you know what? Shout out to them for giving a little bit of dimension. You know what I mean? I can tell these people are far behind. This person's up close. These people are casting large shadows. This person is sort of staring off. This is what we call malaise. She's establishing mood. She's establishing tone. So, give her credit for that. Good. That's what the people are doing. They're clapping. You can tell that not from what you see, but from clap, 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 clap. Okay. If it was me, I would have said riotous applause. But she's only ever heard a polite golf clap. So she wouldn't know what that's like. Oh, another panel, basically the same thing. A little redundant, but I understand. This person is walking towards them slowly, very slowly, apprehensively, maybe a little scared. What do you get from the posture of this, Tony?
I don't know if they're playing with their zipper, because it looks like the right hand's kind of doing something in front there. Maybe they're fidgeting with something.
Our boy Skinner
I don't
says
know.
life and health, ruining ass shape.
I don't really get much from his posture. I mean, I guess they're walking towards that group, but it's not really.
Hands in pockets, weak.
Is that what that
sad,
is?
Loser.
Okay.
Beta.
Well, you know.
Beta.
I definitely have seen these sorts of zine stuff, like type comics before, you know, where it's like this level of art, and I've enjoyed some of them if they're really, really well written. So I don't want to, like, you know.
You don't want to disrespect the style.
Yeah, I don't want to disrespect the style because it is what it is, and people dig it. And, you know.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? That's very progressive of you. That's very open-minded
Well,
of you.
You
The
know,
thing
there
is,
was
like, you have to remember me, Tony. I make comics for who? Morons, children.
Dude,
you're
talking to a guy who draws Rick and Morty comics. I make comics for the lowest level, lowest rungs of society. So
I make comic, like, I'm inspired by bullshit like Swamp Thing. You know what I mean? Steve Bissett, a loser, a person who makes comics for children. You know what I mean? So yes. I don't know what I'm talking about. I never went to art school. Okay. I've never read Bukowski. And I think anybody who has, frankly, should be re-educated. Like, if you've read a Bukowski book, you should go to a camp where they wipe that freak shit out of your mind and replace it with normal thoughts or like productive thoughts. Is that fair?
No, but let you cook. I've read some Bukowski and it was interesting, but I was also an older, like in my 30s, so I wasn't that influential, like, or easily influenced.
Your mind is like warped.
Yeah, well, I've already done all that shit. I already went through my debaucherous phase. I didn't need some fucking old dude tell me what was up.
I've never read a single page of Bukowski, and I've also never even finished a whole movie based on his work. They're so boring. They get.
I get it. You're on the road. You like booze. It's a big deal.
I like certain writers who are weird. I just don't like Bukowski because he's just a freak. You know what I mean? Like, there is no redeeming value to his work. I've never read it, so I don't know if that's true. But, this is just my impression from the outside.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
From a normal man's mind, I like normal things. I like Steinbeck. I like Jack London. Okay,
those are all great. Those are great authors for sure.
Thank you. Let's give it. You know what? Let's give it up for real literature. Not Bukowski. No Bukowski. You know what? Boo Bukowski. Boo Bukowski. No Bukowski.
I mean, he did beat the shit out of his wife, didn't he? I thought he did. I think he got arrested for assault.
Marco says I could never take that wife beater seriously, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know about that.
Yeah,
you know,
he beat up his wife. I remember hearing that.
And what, people try to cancel him because of the woke?
I think that's pre-woke.
Amazing.
Can't make Charles Bukowski today, you know.
You could not make Bukowski today, that's for sure. So okay, next panel. This apprehensive thing is gently walking towards this group of very large, tall people. You know.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, I don't get it, because if I were to make these things, I would try to make the art look good. That's just how I am. I don't understand what it's like to have contempt for your audience like this. Like, I feel like this, okay? When I was growing up, if I drew something shit, my mom would not be like, "Oh, that's so beautiful." She wouldn't. People in my class wouldn't say, "You're so great." My teachers wouldn't be like, "You should pursue this." They would say, better learn how to fix cars or something useful, motherfucker, because you will not be making a life of an artist, you know? But this person clearly, I think, grew up encouraged, grew up empowered to express their creativity in a way that I never was. And am I jealous of that? No. Why? Because I learned how to draw good. And I learned how to respect my audience to know that if I'm putting something online for you to see, that it should look good, because otherwise you could just look at something else. But there's a lot of people in this world who value feelings over craft. And that's, that's valid. That's valid.
Vibes, there's vibes, there's cult of personality.
Vibes.
There's all sorts of things that play into this stuff.
Absolutely. Some people like Bukowski, and some people like me like real writers.
Yeah.
So here we go. Here's the next panel. Finally, we're on panel 4 or 3, and we see these people clapping. Finally, clap, clap, clap. We see their faces, and we got a pig guy here, a pig guy with a part down the middle, which is a good look for a hairstyle. It's kind of like me if I were to put my shit down the center, huh?
Yeah, it kind of looks like you.
I kind of got like that pig face, and I'm a
maybe
mediocre cartoonist.
Maybe she was taking shots at you.
Well, maybe I did catch a stray here. Hold up. Yeah. I mean, I don't usually wear my hair like this, but maybe she thought I did, and was like, "I'm taking a shot at Ramon, that pig."
Now, does anyone know what book, what cartoon comic she was talking about in this? Or is it just kind of like she's...
There's been some theories. I know somebody said that she lost an award to somebody else, and she'll mention that person later. I cannot remember this person's name, but I thought when I read this that she was taking a shot at my girl Caroline Cash. Caroline Cash, who does Pee Pee Poo Poo comics. I'm not saying that like reductively, though it's the name of her book, Poo Poo Pee Pee Poo Poo.
I've heard of that, and that name is just stands out. It's iconic.
Caroline Cash.
No, not that, but the Pee Pee Poo Poo. I
think both names stand out. I think Caroline Cash is like a great name. There's alliteration. People love Cash.
Yeah.
That's
that's a great name. That's like a great wrestler name. If I was a wrestler, like calling yourself something Cash.
Yeah. So. I wonder if it's her. I wonder if it's Caroline's real name. I don't know. Frankly, I don't know Caroline that well. I like her art, I guess, like fine enough. It's not super my thing, but I'm not like against it. But let's look at this art right here. Here's my problem with this. This is a bad tangent right here. His body turns into the panel border. That's not good. That's not quality draftsmanship. That's not what that is. That's not what we do in the big leagues, Alex. That's not how real cartoonists handle their business. You can't do that. Okay, this guy looks like shit. He's not like, what is this clapping gesture? Who claps like this? Look at like this. Who does this? This doesn't even make a fucking noise if I try. You know
Isn't that what they do for blind people? Don't they show hands or something when they're like?
But it's making a clapping noise though.
I mean, when they're deaf, for deaf people, don't they like do this for deaf people?
But these hands are like closer, and it's saying clap, clap, clap. I don't think she can draw hands going like this. She's doing this.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Yeah, even seals know how to do it.
So that's not good. This guy's body disappears behind the trophy. He's half a man. He's mostly knee down and like chest up, and he's a bald man. So we got like a 30-year-old sort of annoying guy. We've got a random disturbed woman here. Like this dress is a disturbed woman's dress. If you follow the shape of her body out here, it doesn't make any sense. Not even a little bit, right? And we got the mediocre cartoonist guy. He's got 2 number 1 trophies. In what world is he getting 2 number 1 trophies? Maybe she should put one. What is the? He's getting multiple awards for the same trophy. You don't win 2 Album of the Years, Grammys.
No, but you can win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. To be fair,
Who's done that?
Michael Jordan, the GOAT.
The GOAT.
The GOAT.
No debating. He's the GOAT. He's the best to ever do it. LeBron might have got it too, but he's not the GOAT.
No.
LeBron is not the GOAT. He couldn't be the GOAT. Why? He lost too many times into the finals. He has a bad shooting percentage overall. You know what I mean? He's not clutch. You know, he's a Ray Allen merchant. He's a Dwayne Wade merchant. You know,
Facts.
He's not clutch. He's not the GOAT. Jordan's the GOAT.
Jordan's
He's
the
got
GOAT.
more rings. LeBron's just a longevity player, right? So
Yeah.
It is what it is. But you're right. I think both of those guys may have both got Defensive Player of the Year and MVP, though. Probably, right?
Probably, yeah.
LeBron probably got DPOI at some point.
Probably back when he cared.
Well, I think there was a time where they were giving LeBron DPOIs because it was like, you know, until then they realized like, oh, we're just giving LeBron every award. Like we can't keep doing this, you know?
Yeah.
LeBron James.
So anyway, is the chat? What's the chat thing? Are they popping off? Here we go. Mark L. Dude says people speculated it was Stone Fruit by Lee Lay because that went out over Dog Biscuits. Right. That's the thing that Alex will talk about later. Sophie says, "What's up with these weird frilly ears on the character third from the left? Those aren't frilly ears. That's hair. She drew a bald man. You just can't tell because it's so badly done. But you know, there's another bald man right here.
Does my ears look like that? I don't know.
I gotta say, in 2025, bald people don't do this anymore. Bald people do what you do. They shave the sides of their heads, right? You never see the Larry Fine anymore. I think it's like people like I'd rather just go like because Jordan's the GOAT. I'd rather go the way of Jordan. I'd rather go the way of Stone Cold, shave the whole thing off, than walk around looking like Larry David.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to look like Jordan. You want to look like Tupac. You want to look like Stone
Well, I
Cold.
don't, but you do, obviously.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, it's a good look. Hold on. Bald is beautiful. But Caroline Cash, in her mind, it's still 1970s New York, where, no, not even. In 1970s New York, they would have laughed this out of town if she drew like this. You know, this reminds me of, you never watched Mad Men, but there's a line towards the end of the series where Don Draper gets a new wife named Megan, and her mom says, she says something like, it's a sad thing when a girl has the mind of an artist, but she is not an artist, you know, or the temperament of an artist, but she is not an artist. Right. And that's, you know, that's said. Oh, look at Skinner says it's kind of like the New Yorker art from the 90s. That's what I thought. I thought that her art is kind of like, was it like Keith Haring? I feel like she's trying to be like Keith Haring, but like she's not Keith Haring. You know what I mean? That's how I feel when I look at this. Like somebody who's desperately trying to cover up their inability to draw with so much style that it becomes its own thing, right? Because if I saw any one of these drawings, I would say that's decent for like a 7 or an 8-year-old who's drawing with like a Sharpie, has no basic understanding of draftsmanship or cartooning or storytelling. But if you do cocaine and listen to house music,
I've done both
and
of those
go to
things.
raves, then
I've
that's
done that as
acceptable.
well. I mean, I've done all those things.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you. That was a delayed reaction. They're not.
Is this where I'm taking shots? I'm taking shots from you, not from her. Damn.
I'm sorry. Anyways.
That's all right. You're gonna pay later.
Bruh.
Yeah, you already know. By the way, if nobody's noticed that there's a bunch of chips behind me, we're going to get to that later. That's my punishment for all of this. My ego cannot, I have to be punished. Let's be real.
You need to be humbled.
I need to be taken down a peg, and Alex isn't going to do it, so I'm going to do it myself. Okay, so These people are clapping, mediocre cartoonist. Surrounded by flies, by the way. What's that about?
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Is there poop in those trophies? I don't.
Is it because it's a pig? I want to know, has Alex ever done any animal husbandry whatsoever, much less with pigs? Because this is just base level shit. Oh, pigs are surrounded by flies. No, they're not. Pigs are beautiful animals. If sometimes are there flies out? Yeah, but they're everywhere, right?
They're brilliant. Brilliant animals.
Pigs are the closest to humans in DNA of any animal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you were to eat a human being, it would taste most like pig flesh than any other flesh. That's just a fact. I gotta put on my hat. I hate this look that I have right now. Nobody wants to see me like this. Okay. You know what? I'm going Mexican mode.
Oh shit. Lock in.
Okay, so anyways, let's go to the next panel. Huh. And they're still clapping, but this little bunny goes, huh. And then a book flops in front of it. Who throws this book? I don't know. But Tony, what's wrong with the arc of this book?
The arc of the book?
Like the action line that is there.
It doesn't. I can't tell what is
That's
that.
not how a book falls. You know what I mean? Like, look, here's a comic right here.
Yeah, it falls on its face.
Well, it's just like this is a comic, right? Sophie Campbell's Supergirl. Beautiful book, I guess. I didn't draw a cover for it, so I can't really endorse it. But let me show you how it falls if I throw it like this. It just went like this, like every other thing. That's the laws of gravity. This would have you believe that the book would go like this. I throw it, and then it flaps around in like a unnatural, sort of like bird-like thing. That's whimsical.
Well, this is whimsical. This is a whimsical world we're entering in right here. So I mean,
right.
The laws of nature are whimsical.
There's talking bunnies, by the way. There is no continuity between the previous group of people and this group of people, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that. Where are the bald guys? Where is the deranged woman with the ugly dress? How come they're not, you know what I mean? How come in this panel, they're in a semicircle, kind of, and then in this panel, they're just like in a full circle. You don't even see the pig anymore. But the bunny goes, huh. What's going on? This is brilliant writing, I gotta say. This is so far we're 1, 2, 3, 4 panels in, and all we've got is and this guy saying thank you, mediocre cartoonist. You know, there's a way to show that he's a mediocre cartoonist without just writing it across his chest. It's called storytelling. Not that she would know, because she's a beta.
Beta!
I'm so stupid. Anyways, let's look at so the bunny, having seen all the people clapping in a circle, goes, must be pretty groundbreaking stuff. Picks up the comic. Sophie says, hey, all right. Skinner says human is just a long pig. Wait, Sophie says pigs are closer to humans in DNA than chimpanzees? Obviously. You don't know anything about animals. Oh, Colin says it's like Keith Haring mixed with half-assed Art Spiegelman. True. I think that was the vibe, right? I see that. People say about me, they're gonna mix me up. It's like Frank Miller meets Frank Quietly, two goats. That's who I am. But I actually can draw.
This is the best drawing that I've seen yet.
Oh yeah, for sure. Except for I hate these feet. You know the thing about rabbits? Yeah. Famously, they have very long feet.
Yeah.
I've never seen a rabbit with such short feet before. It's like it's almost like it's had its foot bound by the Chinese, like back in those days. It's upsetting. Oh, also by the way, 5 fingers, 4 fingers?
Oh wow! I just noticed that.
What are we doing here? This is contempt for the audience right here. This is a person who can't count to 5 twice. Okay? One hand, 5 fingers, the other hand, 4 fingers. What is that? Who does that? I've never made that mistake once in my entire life, not even when I was a 5-year-old kid. Because I was 5 and I could count that high already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why Alex Graham thinks it's okay to do this, I don't know. It's bad. Next panel. Flip, and she's reading a comic that says mediocre comic. So mediocre artist or mediocre cartoonist made a comic called Mediocre Comic with shit with little flies around it.
Is that why everyone thought it was pee poo poo because of the poop on the?
Well, that's why
comic?
I thought it was pee poo poo. Everybody else thought it was the other person. Everybody else, they can't see. I am a very observant guy, and I'm able to piece 2 things together. Our girl Caroline Cash just got another Eisner nomination.
Congratulations!
2 years in a row, got an Eisner nomination.
That's
Fantagraphics as a company got a bunch of Eisner nominations because
That's
Caroline Cash is carrying that company.
Making them
Caroline
cash.
is carrying Fantagraphics and making them cash. But Alex Graham is jealous when she should be thanking her. If I was working for a company and we had just one superstar, if I was on the Bulls and I'm Steve Kerr
Mm-hmm.
and Jordan punches me in the face during practice, I'm saying, hey,
You're
23, you're a great leader.
Yeah, I deserve that. I had that coming.
Give me the ball when you need me to take the shot, and I'm going to hit that for you. But you punching me in the face, that means nothing to me. And I doubt Caroline ever punched Alex in the face. I don't think she would do that. She's too nice.
I mean, I don't even know her, but she sounds way too nice to do something.
She
like
seems
that.
like a sweet person. Based on everything I know, she seems like a great person. Why Alex Graham decided to just take this nasty, nasty swipe at her, it's beyond me. But I think it's because
Allegedly.
It's because to some people, there's only so much amount of clout. And if you don't get it, somebody else is, or if somebody else is getting it, then that's none for you. But that's not how the world works, you know?
Yeah. That's the thing that like kind of struck me when I read this. It was like someone took what they perceived slight that they didn't get nominated for award and tried to turn it into like some broader cultural statement. And that just, it seems so disingenuous and petty and gross and just
remember, like you're a big Marin head.
Yeah.
Remember when Marin used to go on about Louis C.K. and how he was so jealous? This is before we knew that Louis C.K. was doing all that freak shit.
Yeah.
But back in the day, Marin used to go like, everything that Louis did that was successful felt like a personal attack on Mark Maron. But Mark Maron, being sort of an introspective guy, realized that about himself and tried to like not make it like personal when other people are doing well, you know?
Yeah.
And
I think we all go through that.
Every artist has to go through that.
Yeah,
you know?
we all go through that. We all, no matter what anyone says, we'll all look at an announcement for a book for somebody else, and we're like, "Damn, I could have been doing that," or "Why not me?" Or you know, and that pings in your brain, in your lizard brain, and then the best of us realize that and go, "Oh, well, that wasn't meant for me, and I wasn't going for that," or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you just keep it moving, you know, and you don't shit on someone publicly, especially when they're nominated for an award, and try to like.
Every time I see one of my friends nominated for an award, you know what I do? I celebrate them. I say congratulations. Good job. You deserve that. You deserve it more than all the other losers that are against you. You know what I mean? And if it's for a company that I'm with, like if Bad Idea were to get nominated for awards, I would say the same thing. I would say, I hope we win every one of those fucking things.
Like The Pedestrian got nominated for Best New Series. Everyone should go vote for it because I did a variant cover for issue number 2.
You definitely are going to want to vote for Absolute Batman because I did a variant for number 8. That's the one to vote for. If you're an Eisner voter, vote for Absolute Batman. People are saying it's the underdog of the award. People are saying this is the comic that nobody's talking about, but everybody loves this one. So
that comic is the Mercedes Monet, and my comic's the Jamie Hader.
this
I'm the
is
underdog.
the underdog's choice.
You're the elitist.
I'm an underdog. I'm the eternal underdog. So anyways, so she's seeing this mediocre comic in her eyes. Apparently, you know what? Apparently it's not mediocre because everybody else likes it, you know? I'll give her credit. This little comic strip got 1,579 likes. So that means there are 1,579 people who are absolute fucking idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. It's not a good comic. It's not. I will say this: it's not a mediocre comic. You know what it is? It's a bad comic. If
people say it's better to be like total. Would rather be completely average or just the worst ever, and some people would rather just be the worst ever. You know, because at least you're like making a statement. So in that case, congratulations.
Skinner says this whole comic portrays a kind of bitterness of something for what other people are being recognized for, and it says more about the sad inner worlds that can develop in artists that spend so much time alone. Celebrating other people's achievements is healthy, but when I felt overlooked in the past, I felt bitter about it. Absolutely. And then Salt says, Skinner, you're so right. The bunny is alone and unhappy, and everyone else is having a good time. Right. If you're not in the in group, you're looking outside. Of course, you're going to be like, I don't get this comic. This comic sucks. It's not for you. You're not in that group of people. In fact, you're in a whole other group of people that likes comics about sad, lonely animals who jack off and do drugs with droopy tits. That's your lane. And your lane may have 1,579 people that like it. You know, it may give you a couple $1,000 advance in Fantagraphics to make, you know, a 400-page graphic novel about a sad bunny. But other people are making other comics for other groups of people. You can be celebrated within your own group and not the broader culture at large. Is that a bad thing? Is that the culture is bad? No. Maybe you're bad because you can only do one thing, which is this. But you know what? Shout out to her.
Also, like, if you find
she's found her audience.
Well, and that's the thing. If you
found your audience.
Yeah, if you find your niche audience, you should be grateful for them instead of being like, "Oh, I could do better than you."
You should make a comic where you're just like, me and all my friends are so fucking cool because we appreciate little cartoon animals doing drugs and jacking off. Nobody else does. They all like other stupid things that, you know, maybe are more important or make people feel good about things, but we make people feel rotten about things, and that's better. And you know what? If that's how you feel, God bless you. You know what I mean? Who am I to judge that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, go with God.
Yeah. If you're the kind of person who, like, you know, like people's comics smell like Taco Bell mild sauce, you know what I mean? That's good for you. Be happy about that. Be happy to make that for your audience, but you don't have to dog everybody else. You know,
I love that.
I'm not dogging you right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that mild sauce. By the way, that shit was fire.
That shit is good, dude. I said that and I immediately regretted it because I'm like, damn, that shit does kind of bang. And you know me, I'm a mild sauce guy. I don't like spicy foods.
As we're going to find out.
Next panel. The bunny. Here's the thing, and I said this the other day. I can't stand when people write so much. I see this thing, my mind turns off, dude. I have to start skimming, dude. But here it says, Cal Arts adjacent character design, unclear pacing, not sure who is speaking from one panel to the next. Dialogue could have been written by a middle school kid. Amateur sense of comic language. Amateur sense of comics language? Is she insane? Tony, has she lost her fucking mind?
You know,
who is she to judge the sense of comic language? She couldn't even draw a thought bubble to the head in an earlier panel. The thought
good
bubble
Lord grant me
in the line of the bunny.
I hope the Lord grants me the irrational confidence of this person. Oh, I'm a white guy. I already have that. I'm sorry.
Look at how that bunny is holding the comic. We talk about comic language. The bunny's holding it like this. Oh, you know what? I don't want to do that because I don't want to mess up this copying because I drop it. She's holding it like this. Look. Look. It's not. It's impossible to do what she's doing on this thing.
I mean, you know, from what we've seen, to have them actually have that person be able to understand the fingers and just to understand how you hold things, that's a step too far. So
I mean, credit to her. She did 5 fingers, almost 5 fingers on both hands this time. That's a full 10 fingers. That's a full amazing. That's a full 10 fingers. That's a 10 out of 10.
Amazing.
Great panel. Amateur sense of comics language, completely vapid, uninteresting storyline that abruptly ends. This is garbage.
Bruh.
What are we doing here? You can't do that. Skinner,
really taking shots.
Skinner says this whole description is describing the comic itself. Daniel W says, I think another thing that gets me is the Eisner's is a public award. It's not like a super held off award system. Literally the first year I got to vote due to my last few jobs. Yeah. Colin says, it cannot be ignored that the Cal Arts insult came from pedo John K. complaining about the style of Iron Giant and is only used in a modern sense by incel adults complaining about kids' cartoons. That is a great point. And I remember when I used to look at John K's blog, Self-Exposed. I used to look at his blog spot back in the day.
I don't know who that is. Who's John K?
He did Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, okay.
And me as a kid, mind you, I had to get deep reprogramming. But as a kid, I liked Ren and Stimpy. I liked gross things. I thought disgusting shit was funny. I used to think boogers and farts were funny.
Yeah, the episode where he took the boogers and he put them under the chair, you know, that was...
Then I became normal. It took a lot. It took a lot of self-reflection to think this isn't normal to like gross things. Gross things are unpleasant. I don't want to see that shit, you know? I used to gag when I would see gross stuff when I was a kid, but I would still seek it out. And then I'm like, why am I doing this to myself?
We've established that you were a little bitch when you were a kid. So
little bitch. I was a sane child. I was not insane.
You were scared of Freddy Krueger.
That's crazy. So the little bunny is going like, Why isn't it saying it out loud? Why is it just thinking it? Why isn't it saying it? You know what I mean? That's what I don't like.
Say it with your chest, Bunny.
What's that?
Yeah. Say it with your chest.
Say stand 10 toes down. And when you draw 10 toes, it's 5 on each foot. Here's an easy way to remember how to draw 10 toes down. Think about if you were going to draw somebody clapping like this, and then count the fucking fingers, count the digits, 5 and 5. Easy way to. That's art advice for me, from your big homie Ramon to my little homie Alex. When you want to remember how many digits to draw on each hand and foot, just imagine you were going to draw somebody clapping like you did in the other panel, and then just count. It's right there for you. That's God's giving you the natural reference. Isn't that beautiful?
It's beautiful.
Next panel.
I went to art school for 4 years. I could have just spoke to you for 10 minutes and figured it all out.
10 out of 10, baby.
Amazing.
So the bunny goes, you guys really enjoy this?
Oh my God, that's me. White guilt. That's me. That's the shot.
That is you.
Oh my God. She did take a shot at me.
God. That is you. That's who I was saying that you got a shot on this one.
I mean, that guy, but see, that guy's fit. Look at that guy.
That's you, bro, because you're doing 100 push-ups a day right now.
Hell yeah, dog.
Oh, you know what? That's for you.
Thank you.
W's in the chat for Tony getting in his 100 push-ups a day. Colin says, the pacing of this comic is so clear. Skinner says, the more therapy I got, the more I realized how much negativity I was holding on to by pointing out how much I hated everything. It came up with a feeling of not feeling good about myself or feeling bad that I was reflecting and transferring bad vibes into the world. This comic exposes that sort of criticism for others. Yeah, I feel the same way. And when I was younger, I was the kind of guy who thought that if you hate something, that is better criticism than you enjoying something. But it's easier to point out flaws in things than point out why other things are good. Because unless you're a highly, highly skilled artist like me, you know, like you can't maybe appreciate good art as much as you can like shit on bad art. You know what I'm saying? Like me and you, Tony. You too, by the way. I didn't mean to say just me, but I can only speak for myself.
Sure.
And I know I'm a super good artist. And when I look at great art, I just think, damn, that's so good. I look at it, I think of things that I want to take from it. And, I used to do a comics podcast and I used to just praise everything. It was a weekly glaze session. It was just me saying how much I love everybody else in the comics industry. You know what I mean? It was just me going around saying, oh, they're so good. They're so good. And that's why I stopped it, because I just felt like, man, this is so exhausting just telling everybody how great they are, Salt says, W for Tony, average Fanta artist, hasn't done 100 push-ups in their total life. Damn! Shots fired, dude.
Thanks,
Sure,
Will.
I see that. But I mean, like in all seriousness, though, it is just easier to shit on things than it is to
totally
to say why things are good.
Yeah, or like propose solutions either as well. It's easier just to be like, this is shit. Everything is shit.
My boy Mark Carpercarve in the chat says the whole Santo Sisters team can't do 100 push-ups combined. By the way, this book, The Santo Sisters, a book by two crackers, the most crackers I've ever seen in my life. It's a beautiful comic, by the way. He sent me these. Mark sent me these comic books in the mail. It's a beautiful gesture by him to do that. I haven't read all of them, but I started digging into them, looking at them. They're very beautiful. It's a very nice comic book. I was gonna point out something else sick, but I don't think I have it right here. I think it might be over here.
So they're saying that the white guilt is the reason why people like this book. So like
another great comic right here is Skin Crawl from Skinner Art. Beautiful comic. Another one that was gifted to me by my wonderful, wonderful friend Skinner and my wonderful friend Mark Caparinaro. No, not just this person says Uncle Bubba just 3. No, he sent me the whole set. He sent me the whole thing. And I felt bad because he asked me if I got them. And I'm like, oh, dude, I've been so busy. I got them, but I have not had a chance to read them. But he sent me all of his shit. My boy hooked me up. So shout out to Mark. Big shout out to Mark. And check out Santo Sisters. I love the way it looks. I've just been flipping through it, but I wanted to sit down and actually read it because I do think the characters look sick.
I heard people talking about that book online saying how great it is.
I thought it, for a white boy, it's not bad. But I wanted to just shout out because I saw him in the chat and I saw Skinner in the chat. I said, what? I'm only showing Sophie's book off. By the way, didn't even give me a variant cover for that book. I don't know why I'm showing it off. I should only be showing off Absolute Batman. You know what I mean? But I'm a gracious guy. Oh, you know what I do have here outside now that I didn't in my thing now? My Optimus Prime that Sophie gave me. It's a very, very expensive figure. When she got her Substack grant, she bought me this Optimus Primal. And I have, I can't thank her enough. Its eyes light up when you touch its head. And I also gave it the base from my Metallica Jason Newsted figures because he's kind of a rocker, Yeah. Anyways, I thought I would point that out that I have my Optimus Primal is out there now next to Steph Curry, my goat. Anyways, beautiful, beautiful comics from my friends. Thank you to Mark and Sophie and Skinner. Even though Sophie didn't give me a variant for Supergirl, which is in stores right now. Wait, Uncle Bubba says the kayfabe surrounding Santo Sisters team is so deep. They can't do 100 push-ups like Tony, though. That's what Mark said. But you know what? Shout out to Mark. I love Mark. Hold on. I got to hit him with the applause. This is for Mark Skinner. This is for everybody in the chat. Chat, this is for you guys. Thank you for coming because I did bait everybody. I said, I'm going to be talking about drama. I'm going to be mean today. So everybody got here. Last week, we didn't promise to be mean. Not a lot of viewers. This week, we said we're going to be fucking mean. Everybody came. Negativity is awesome. Is what I'm learning. Be more negative.
You're learning the wrong lesson.
I'm learning the right lesson. The right lesson is to be more negative, right? Like if I'm being positive, everyone's like, who gives a shit? When I was praising my friends just now, everybody left the chat. We dropped to like negative viewers.
This is true.
Anti people were watching the show. It was just, but now that I'm going to be mean again. Look at this ugly fucking drawing on the screen right now. Now people are the views are skyrocketing again. It's a direct correlation of how negative I am to how much attention we get. Interesting. Anyways, so this says, you guys enjoy this shit? And the white guilt guy is looking at him. He's like, I'm lost. I should be in a Keith Haring drawing, but why is he grabbing his crotch, by the way?
White guilt?
Yeah, Tony, take me inside the mind of this bald man.
He's probably thinking about hockey.
He's probably thinking, why is this bunny's feet so small? Why are his high water pants so thick?
Why am I not wearing any shoes? Why am I wearing socks and no shoes?
Why are shadows cast directly underneath me like that? Weird.
Yeah, well, like we said, it's subjective, it's art.
Uncle Bubba says, Graham tried to milk the rage bait, but it united and fueled the haters. It happens sometimes.
Yeah.
So, here we go. A panel with a split down the center of it. That is comics language, people. That is the kind of stuff that you don't see in mediocre Cal Art style comics. They could never fucking do this right here. They might also not want to because it looks.
I would never tuck in my shirt. So that's just.
Well, you're not in the right world because everybody in this world tucks in their shirts, dude.
That's for
everybody in the world of just cretins. They tuck in their shirts.
I'll tuck that shirt. Tuck your shirts.
The guy's like, yes. And then he's looking at everybody clapping. Are they clapping for him? Or is this one sustained round of applause for the comic that they all enjoy?
It's hard to say, It's really hard to say.
In what world is there nonstop applause going when people are talking and doing things? That's not how the real world works. It's not nonstop applause. It would be insane if you were trying to have a conversation and it was just an endless round of applause going. That is not realistic. It might be comics language, but it's not the language of the world that you and I exist in, right?
No.
Was my point made right there? Because I was sort of like, I was doing a bit. Okay, nice. Was it super annoying?
No, more than usual.
Next panel. He goes, no.
Oh my God.
No. Why? Why? Why does the white guilt man say no? Why?
Well, he whispers it. He can't say it with his chest.
Why is he not 10 toes down? Is it because he's a white boy? I guess white boy, famously white boys with shaved heads and shirts tucked in with pants going up to their fucking like their belly button. Famously, guys who look like this are super not racist. You know what I mean? There's not a whole subset of white dudes like this that aren't
a guy like
the most racist guys in America.
Yeah. Also, I would not let them watch my kid. Like just to say that. If you're
in your shirt, you should not be allowed within 15 feet of a school yards. You shouldn't do it. If I'm a yard duty and I see a man with their shirt tucked in, I'm saying, call the real police. I'm blowing my whistle on these motherfuckers like too short. Wait. I love the comics language down here where this dummy started drawing the foot on this foot, but then did it on this foot because she must have realized, oh, this is stupid. This is not just a tangent. This is just like bad. This is just bad draftsmanship. This is bad draftsmanship to the level of which you rarely see in comics that get this much exposure. Did 1,579 people not know that this person is not drawing hands with the same amount of fingers? This one has 3 fingers. This one has 5 fingers. You know what I mean? How come when people are like, oh, AI art is so bad, they mess up the fingers on this hand. But if you draw like a child, it's totally fine. Why? Why? Why is that? Tony, tell me why that's okay.
I have no idea.
Daniel W says they keep doing weird ass tangents. Yeah,
it's weird.
they keep doing it. If a guy with white guilt tried pet sitting for me, I'd just be worried. Well, we know what these people think about animals. They think they're just basically avatars for jacking off and doing drugs.
Yeah, there's fleshlights.
That's what they think about animals. If I were to draw an animal in a comic, it would be adorable. It would be a pet, or it would be a beast-like creature.
You wouldn't draw a little bunny?
They wouldn't have interior thoughts. They wouldn't be sexual creatures. I don't see animals like that. I don't see an animal and think sex because I'm normal. I'm so fucking normal. I haven't read Bukowski, so sue me. You know. Next panel. The guy says no because he doesn't want to seem racist, even though he shaves his head and dresses like a skinhead.
He's been cucked by white guilt.
He's been super cucked. He's been mega cucked. And the animal goes, why are you doing this? And he goes, quiver. Because they won't stop clapping. You know? If I were to draw this comic, I would just not have them be constantly clapping. I got the idea. Non-stop applause is annoying. Nobody likes that. You know what I mean? It's weird to do that.
Well, you got to fill the space with something, you know.
Well, yeah, because it's bad draftsmanship. They just left it way the fuck out here. Didn't plan it again. Bad tangents again on the bottom of the panel. It's driving me insane to see all these fucking panels like this, dude. If you wonder why I had to respond to it, it's because I'm seeing somebody shit on other people's art and they're drawing like this. Every panel is a disaster class. Again, other people might enjoy it. 1,579 people might enjoy it. Some of my good friends may enjoy it. My boy Sean from Athenaeum Comics, he favorited it. That's okay. I love Sean. Sean's my dog. You know what I mean? Let's look at my friends who liked it. My boy Soy, not Julio. My boy Jasper liked it. This dude Erwin, who I don't really know, but he enjoyed it, you know? There are people that I know who I liked it, and I don't think less of them. Maybe I should, but I don't, right? Because some people like things that I don't like, and that's okay, because I'm an adult. And I'm normal.
Yeah.
So he says, you guys like this shit? He goes, yes. No. Why are you doing this? More clapping. I'm not really sure. By the way, this is great. This is great pacing. This is great intentional pacing. I just want to say that. This is great comics language. What is it? What was the other critiques that they had of people? Dialogue could have been written by a middle school kid. Yeah, nobody else is coming up with, you guys really enjoy this ... shit? Nobody, no middle school kid could have thought of that one. No, actually, only middle school kids think of that. Middle school kids and people whose minds have been dulled by excessive Bukowski reading. Who haven't been re-educated. Who haven't read Praxis. Who haven't read Marx like me. Am I great? Am I great because I've read Marx? No. It's correlation is not causation or whatever the fuck.
No, but reading Marx makes you a better person.
If you do it for the right reasons, for sure. Not if you're reading it to be like, I hate this. You know, some people do that kind of thing.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So anyways, I think that's the end of the comic. It's the end of the comic, and it's a middle finger up.
Yeah, that's really edgy.
That's badass. Actually,
Ouch! Ouch!
That's
Ouch!
badass.
Ouch! Ouch! Dog! I just cut myself on those edges. Ouch!
actually, middle
Yeah,
fingers
Band-Aid.
are badass, dude. I'm wrong. Alex, you're right. Middle fingers to the sky, dude. That's like what's that song that we love with what's the motherfucker?
Oh, the white boy.
Middle finger in the sky. Hardy.
Yeah, hard. Yeah.
And Jess Murph. I think Jess Murph had middle finger. Jelly Roll and Jess Murph. Middle
Oh, that's
fingers
a
to the
girl.
sky. That's so sick.
Fuck
Actually,
the man.
middle fingers are sick.
Yeah, they are.
So shout out to, you know what? All due respect to Alex, she got one off with a
Yeah.
middle finger. I think middle fingers are cool.
Yeah.
But it didn't sit right with me that she made this comic. So while I was in the Starbucks at Target, after I bought the sunblock so that I could go on my walk so I don't go out like Joe Biden. I know you said he didn't get skin cancer. He got a different kind.
He got prostate.
I do not want to go out like Joe Biden. So I
got
got
dick cancer.
some sunblock. You know, I got SPF 30. And it smells beautiful. It smells like coconut. People think when I go out that I must be like a pina colada kind of guy. You know what I mean? They must think that because I smell like I reek of coconut now. You know? That's the kind of vibes that I give off when I'm walking around now. I give tropical. They see me and they think this guy must enjoy the Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama type of lifestyle.
Real coconut rum energy you bring into your day.
Yeah, but it didn't sit right with me, so I had to make my own comic. Why? Because I don't like that this edgelord decided that they are going to shit on just weak. I know what they think. They think these people are weak, and I don't like that they seem to have something I don't, which is like a little bit of clout. So I'm going to shit on them to make myself feel good. You know what I mean? Because they know that the soft Cal Arts, tender queer art style, those people are not going to fight back. They're just not, right?
Yeah.
But you know who will fight for them? Ramon Villalobos. Do I ask for applause? No, I don't. But I'm going to get it because I control the soundboard.
That's what I was about to say. Get it any way you can get
it. Give me however I can get it. So here's my comic. Only 800 likes, by the way. Pitiful amount. Not a lot. Yeah, disgusting.
Get your numbers up.
However, she has like 3 times as many Instagram followers as me. So what does that mean? I don't know. That I don't use Instagram very much. Probably that. So here's my comic. And this is, by the way, I drew this in like an hour. That's crazy, right? That's, by the way, look at, we're just going to judge this. First of all, dumbass forgot to draw the thing it was sitting on. But you know what? The body language is so good. The weight in that is so good that you're like, I know he's sitting on something. I don't really even need to see what, you know?
You don't need it.
The other thing that I did fuck up on was I drew myself incredibly short compared to this rabbit. Like, look how short I would be. Yeah. I would be like, people need to understand, even though I'm Mexican, I'm a solid 6 foot. And if you saw this, you would think I was a fucking nugget.
Yeah.
You would think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you look shorter than me.
I look short as fuck in this thing.
Yeah, I would say 5'4", 5'3".
I'm a 6 foot tall man.
Well, not according to this cartoon you drew.
Well, the sense of the scale could be the rabbit is like 12 foot tall.
That's true.
But I look short in scale. That's all.
But
I mean, otherwise, I feel like that's a pretty good caricature of me, though. If you know what I mean? Like my hair is a little longer than it is in this thing, but that's, you know. I feel like if you saw that, you'd say, that's Ramon. He says, what's the matter, pretentious rabbit? Are you sad about Gaza, deportations, the rollback of LGBTQ rights? Things that matter. Things that affect people's day-to-day lives. Not something stupid like, oh, people aren't loving me enough. People should love me more, right?
Yeah, give me an award.
And then I drew the rabbit. I drew the rabbit saying, no, Ramon. By the way, consistent. Every time you see this rabbit and me, we're going to have 3 fingers and a thumb, or 4 fingers. Why? Because I care about my audience. Because I don't think they're stupid. Because I think they can count right? Because this is a cartoon world, so I'm drawing within the context of a cartoon world where everybody has 4 fingers, because that is old school cartooning, right?
Mhm.
Alex Graham doesn't know that because she's a fucking idiot. Maybe I don't know. Maybe she can't count to 5, and it's hard for her, and she struggles, and I shouldn't be judging her for that. But I know
Oh.
with me, my audience, I respect them, and I respect myself, first of all. I wish I could cut that off midway through it because it's a little too long. But so I say, that's not true, Rabbit. I care. What do you have to say that's so important? I may be woke and cringe, but I really do care.
You are woke and cringe.
Yeah, and notice, by the way, that my shirt says Ramon on it. I got to be honest with you, I don't have a shirt that says Ramon on it, but I felt like since it's political, you kind of want to label like who the person is. Like that person, their shirt said white guilt, you know. But
I have one of those.
my shirt just says Ramon on it because I wanted people to know, oh, this represents Ramon Villalobos, right? But just beautiful cartooning, though. I think.
Yeah.
Just I wanted to pat myself on the back again
Good
because
job.
I drew
There you
this
go.
in Target in an hour.
And Target.
And then the Rabbit responds, cancel culture is bad. Comics were better when mostly creeps made them. Now, I said that
you drew this in Target?
Yeah, dude.
What you can sit in Target and
They have a Starbucks in the front of Target.
Oh, okay.
You can what the fuck? You can get like a drink there, and you can sit
Yeah,
down.
I got you. Yeah. I understand.
They
I was like, man, are you like you were like shopping, drawing as you were doing it? Like,
because the summer's coming up, the sunblock is right in front of the store. So I went up there, I grabbed it, went to self-checkout, got a drink, and sat down in Starbucks for a little while. So my guy is looking at the Rabbit. The Rabbit's freaking out, by the way. You see this great cartooning? The Rabbit has like a vein. It's got a weird squiggle up its neck. It sort of signifies that this rabbit is unhinged. It's got sweat dripping out of it. I didn't have to draw flies around it to give the indication that this rabbit is fucked. The body language gives it. It's sitting like a freak. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? I'm giving a manic energy just only through a few amount of lines. Look at my guy. My guy's standing there like, oh my God, this rabbit is weird. You know, this rabbit reads Bukowski. This rabbit's unhinged. You know,
it's hella tall.
Sophie says, you need an actual shirt in real life that says Ramon on the front. Maybe I do. Skinner says, Big Doggy Ramon will fight. Always, Sheriff Ramon. Uncle Bubba says, get him a Ramon shirt and just fill in the last 2 letters. I don't want to. Para says, great expression on Ramon. And you know how Para knew who Ramon was? Because it said it on the shirt.
Yeah.
Because I'm a good cartoonist and I understand comics language. I understand pacing. I understand middle school writing. I can do that.
Well, I mean, you've drawn Batman. What does Batman have on his chest?
A bat.
Exactly. That's it.
I never even thought of that. And Superman has an S on his planet that stands for hope.
Fucking hell. Flash has a lightning bolt.
The Green Lantern literally has a green sort of lantern symbol.
Yeah.
You know?
Iconography.
Maybe the White Guilt was like a good guy. Maybe that was supposed to be like a positive thing.
I mean, to be fair, white people should feel guilty. I don't know what.
Yeah, you kind of did a genocide a couple times over.
Yeah, we're doing one right now.
Here we go. Next panel. Well, I may be woke and cringe, but it's hard to blame audiences for seeking out voices that aren't loud enough in a time where maybe those voices are being quieted by malignant forces. Your voice matters too, but art isn't a zero-sum game. And Rabbit, see what I did there was I added the 3 dots and Rabbit, because you're like, even though you don't see the rabbit on the thing, you know the rabbit's not listening to me.
Yeah.
That's called good writing. That's called good cartooning. And I add this little thing right here called, it says virtue signaling. Why? Because I know that my critics would say, look at Ramon virtue signaling. We don't like virtue signaling. We think that's cringe. We think that's woke. But what I did was, me being a genius, I put in the criticisms within the text of the work. See, if Alex was smart like me, she would have worked in the criticisms against her. Like, oh, people might think I'm racist. I'm not racist, but ... I don't like black people. She could have said that. She could have said that in her comic. If she was smart, she would have maybe worked that criticism in. That way people say, oh, maybe she's racist because she doesn't like black people, but she says she's not racist right here. So never mind, right?
Mhm.
She didn't do that. I did that because I'm smart. I have a big adult brain. Never read Bukowski. Read Marx. Read Pedagogy of the Oppressed, or I am reading Pedagogy of the Oppressed. My aunt gave me a copy, and my friend had been telling me to read it for a while now.
Oh yeah, it was supposed to be for that thing we were gonna do.
No, don't talk about it. Speaking of which, you see anything about that guy about my guy over here? It looks kind of similar. I feel like
Yeah,
I
a little
kind of give off vibes right there. Anyways. It says last panel. Oh, rabbits left to make more subversive art of cartoon animals doing drugs. Okay. Because that's all this is about, right? The rabbit
Mhm.
doesn't want to hear it. The rabbit wants to go off and make subversive art of cartoon animals doing drugs and jacking off. That's what the rabbit wants to do. So why would I, a humble cartoonist named Ramon with the shirt that says his name on it, why would I challenge its thoughts, its ideas, when ultimately it's a fruitless endeavor? The rabbit doesn't want to hear it. The rabbit just wants to do what the rabbit does, right?
Mhm.
So that was my
Not the rabbit
cartoon.
group.
To be honest, my cartoon, nothing but praise for my cartoon. Everybody loved it. Nobody said, I didn't even receive a single criticism for it. You know what I mean? I didn't get as many likes as hers, but she also got a ton of people who were like, this sucks. You're
Yeah.
racist. We hate you. The whole internet, all of Blue Sky was going in on her. And half of her Instagram comments, more than half at this point, were like, you're dumb.
Yeah, because her.
But you look
Sorry.
at my thing, and literally it's nothing but praise. It is not because I deleted anything. I could have if somebody said something nasty about me. But I accept criticisms. People could not like me. But people said, Ramon, you draw better than her, you write better than her, you think better than her, you are a better person than her. This might be beneath you to even engage further. And I said, you know what, you're right. This is where I'm going to leave this. I'm not going to do anything about it anyways. Wrong. Because the next day she put out a statement. And she put out, not in cartoon form, by the way. I think that's weak. I think you put it on wax. This is a conversation that's happening in comics. I want you to draw more. It only took me an hour to draw my thing. I don't know how long it took her to draw her thing, but I wanted this to be the cartoon rabbit explaining this to me. I didn't want to hear from Alex. I wanted to hear from that cartoon rabbit. Rabbit, what do you feel about the criticism that you've been getting? She didn't give it to us.
I will say the one defense I've seen from people online of her, and not knowing anything of her or seeing her work outside of this, I see people saying, "Well, she's a really good writer." You don't understand. She's a really good writer.
Is it? Because I feel like. Oh, go ahead.
Well, that's what I see people saying, like defenders of her, saying, "Oh, she's a good writer. She's a good writer." And my thing is and not knowing anything about her or her work, maybe she's a great writer, but from what I've seen, she doesn't seem like a good writer. Because if you have to put out a statement to explain your comic, then maybe you just aren't a good writer. And then the statement itself was written kind of poorly and
Let's get into it. Let's hear her statement. So it used to be called Canceled, by the way, when she first put this out. So here's how she put it out. She didn't put it out on Instagram. On Instagram, she posted a picture of the cartoon bunny, and it said clarifications or something. It was like a little drawing, and it said like link in bio. So if you wanted to see her quote unquote apology or her quote unquote clarification, you'd have to click on a link from her link tree to go to her website to read this statement. Now, I would think that if you want to give a clarification that everybody could see, why not just put it on Instagram? You didn't put the comic on your website. You didn't put like a link to like click through this and go look at my website to read this dumbass comic. You said, here's my thoughts. Here's my comic. Why is the clarifications on some other thing? And why did you rename it canceled to clarifications? You know, because the main reaction that I saw was people saying that white guilt thing was a bad look. The jealousy that you expressed there was a bad look, you know?
Yeah.
So here she goes. There is a dearth of good art and storytelling in the broader culture at the moment. At the moment. What does that mean? Like since everybody was locked up in COVID, like in the last, 5 years? You mean when you and your friends came to prominence? Do you not see the weird, like, lately all comics seem to suck. Yeah, Fantagraphics only puts out books by you and your fucking friends. What are you talking about? You should be excited. You should be ecstatic that people seem to enjoy bad, stupid fucking comics. Oh my God. Brian Level is here. Brian, we are going over Alex Graham's clarifications. Do you know anything about this?
Who the fuck? I don't know.
Wait.
Oh no, we've just been talking about this for like an hour and a half. But let me catch you up to speed real quick, okay?
Nah, dude, just let me go in blind. I'll start saying some crazy shit.
Okay. So you need to know the context. She's reacting to a reaction to her comic that she made.
Okay.
So this woman named Alex Graham, she's a Fantagraphics cartoonist. She made a comic called The State of the Culture, and it's this sad rabbit. It reads a comic, and this guy in a liberal white guilt shirt pops out of the crowd, and the rabbit's like, "Do you really enjoy this?" And the rabbit's like, "Yes," but then quietly says, "No, I don't enjoy this." And then that's the end of the comic. So then so everybody was like, "Damn, this comic's kind of racist," like, because the whole idea was like people are praising art that sucks, and real artists like her are getting left on the outside, you know?
Okay.
So then I made a response comic because I'm like, there's bigger things to worry about. Like my comic's like, why are you sad? Because of Gaza, because of, you know, the rollback of LGBTQ rights, because of the deportations that are going on. And the rabbit's like, no, I'm mad because like people are like, they're not glazing me 24/7, you know? And it's like, okay. Like that seems like an irrelevant concern at a time like this.
Is glazing like
yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like
I'm not 100. I've heard that term a couple of times recently, and I'm not 100%. So
you're like, is that really what it sounds? Is that really as disturbing as it sounds? It is.
Well, no, I just got to make sure it's. I had to keep it PG there.
Yeah. Okay. So this is her reaction to everybody saying, "Yo, that was a weird racist comic that you made." All right.
Yeah.
So here she says, there is a dearth of good art and storytelling in the broader culture at the moment. This is because everyone is paralyzed by fear of saying or liking the wrong thing. I don't think that the dearth of good art and storytelling in the broader culture is because people are afraid of liking or saying the wrong thing. I think it's because there's a lot of whiny little fucking kids who, I say kids, she's my age, by the way. That's the craziest part about this whole thing. Me and Alex I'm maybe a year or two older than her. She's in her 30s and drawing like a child, but you know, she's
living the life.
She says, this is the subtext of the Instagram comic I posted 2 days ago that led to a huge pile-on. It was a huge pile-on. Everybody did say that comic stinks. And the backlash that ensued couldn't have been more perfect demonstration of my point. If there was anyone who read my comic and was inspired to approach art with less fear, the backlash that came after has certainly scared them back into hiding. That's wrong. That's wrong because I saw that and it made me, whereas before I'm like, I don't really want to engage with this kind of bullshit. I'm above it. It made me think, no, I'm not above it. I'm a pig. I'm swine. Let me get in the mud like the fucking pigs do. Okay? Because pigs don't have sweat glands, so they have to lay in mud to keep themselves cool in the hot summer months. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that who's raised pigs like I have. She says, I'm being told that people think my comic was an attack on a certain artist. I barely even know who that is or what their comics look like. Although I feel kind of bad for them that many others seem to be identifying their work through my description of a weak comic. No. That's not because of your description. It's because you lost an award to them. because the only person it could have been is this person who you lost an award to, and you've been jealous and bitter about it. Again, I don't think it is even that person. I think it's Caroline Cash, who you're also losing to. But that's beside the point. The comic is a broad swipe at a certain style of mediocre CalArts style comic that by the way, a certain style of mediocre CalArts style comic, you don't use style like that 2 times in the same sentence. It sounds stupid. I learned that when I was a freshman in high school. Granted, I took AP English because I was smart, but like, that's just basic writing. That's basic style, actually, Alex. Learn how to write better than a middle schooler. Okay, Alex? Learn how to write like at least a freshman high schooler in AP English like I was. You've come for a special episode, Brian. I'm going off the rails today.
Good.
She says, this is a broad swipe at a certain style of mediocre comic art style that I and many others, many, all caps, many others see everywhere. The overhype of these comics is insane. Name names now. There are too many to name, baby. Look all around you. It's insane.
Like, this is getting muddy to where like I'm struggling to keep up, I guess. Like,
Well, I tried to give you a primer and you said no. You said drop me in the center of it.
No. Like, I'm just telling you. So
Okay.
I'm not saying like stop. I'm just kind of
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, like,
if I
in
lose
fairness
the
to
thread,
me.
if I lose the thread a little bit.
Yeah, we'll just ask questions if you have them.
Sure.
So the biggest she said that and the lack of all caps good art, not just in comics but in movies, TVs, etc., is a direct effect of people being afraid to fucking express themselves for fear of something like this happening to them. What? Getting mild criticism? What are we talking about? I never understand people who are like, we love free speech, we love freedom of expression, but not if you're going to be mean to me, right?
Yeah.
When I was getting just dogpiled, it happens every once in a while. Sometimes I say things that people don't like. I do things that people don't like. You know what I do when people do that? I internalize it. Sometimes I internalize it more than my friends say I should. Sometimes my friends are like, Ramon, you shouldn't, like, this is not on you. And I'm like, yeah, but I need to do reflecting. Otherwise, I'm going to keep making these same mistakes. You know what I mean? That's called being an adult. That's called taking accountability. That's called responsibility. Anyways. She continues, the white guilt shirt. This was a clumsy, probably hasty way for me to demonstrate a certain type of white neoliberal who exists all over American society. Here's what we're not going to do. We are not going to say that you have the more leftist position because you were racist. Because that's so crazy to me. It's like this motherfucker's like one of these sort of red scared tanky women that are just like nasty, awful people who like hang out with like Alex Jones and shit. And they're like, actually, I'm really cool because I don't care about anything. I'm just nihilistic. You know?
Dasha Nekrasova reference?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know about her?
Yeah.
Her and the chick
I
that
actually
looks
have a copy of that Epstein fucking
the movie they made.
The Scary of 60.
Yeah.
I have that movie.
Is it good?
No, but it's interesting. So there's
I wanted to see it, but I never got around to it.
Yeah, it's an interesting movie. So I'll say that, and it's kind of fucking hilarious at times. So
that's cool. But like these are women who like they take a ton of money from like conservatives. Like I can't remember who their benefactor is, but they have like this one benefactor that is like some conservative guy. But then they use their like sort of cool cocaine leftist like slut girl image to like launder conservative values to young people, which is kind of like the whole point of like this conversation that was like really frustrates me about these kind of like edgelords who are like they have a place in the culture where they're like, I don't care about anything, and it's cringe to care about anything. So be like me and be conservative and a shithead who like inflicts suffering onto other people, right? And like, but those people only exist within their own hug boxes. And anytime they interact with normal people like me, then they say, I'm being attacked. I'm being dogpiled. This isn't fair to me. You're infringing on my free speech. No, I'm not, dumbass. I'm simply saying you're weird and gross and stupid, and you
Right.
can't draw.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
By the way, Sophie says that she loves that movie. She gave it 5 out of 5.
nice. Thank you, Sophie. I'm glad I'm not the only person who's seen it. One of the main reasons I picked it up is because it was like mega discounted from Vinegar Syndrome.
Okay.
And it was like super discounted, and the packaging is amazing. So it was like kind of hard to pass up. I don't know. This topic is interesting to me because, like, everything you're saying is right.
Thank you. Hold on. Thank you.
But I do think that there is like,
Sorry, it's pretty loud.
there's a devil's advocate position to be made, not for her necessarily, you know, because like clearly I haven't seen the comic, but I'm sure it's shit. And I think there's a devil's advocate position to be made, which is there are people that are genuinely nervous to just like make stuff they want to make.
Mhm.
But that's not like, and that's real. Like that's not invented. But like that's not that burden doesn't fall on everybody else. You know, like that. I mean, I do think that there's like some cultural culpability there where like we can kind of maybe find ways to like talk like to allies about like, hey, like we still want everybody to be expressive. And I don't think anybody's not saying that, but I do think that there's like, because of like previous, I don't want to say, I got to find a way to like word it so it doesn't sound harsh or have like baggage words. But like because of previous sort of like events that would occur, like we'll use the Manara like Spider-Woman cover. You know, like there are people that just kind of get nervous about drawing male gazy sort of women. You know what I mean?
Wait, you know what's crazy about that cover specifically, Brian? I don't mean to cut you off too hard. Was I remember when that happened, and I was like, I wonder if I can draw Spider-Woman ass first, and if people will call me sexist. And you know what? I did it, and they did not. They thought, this is a great drawing. We love you.
Well, and this is kind of part of when I talk to people about this is I'm kind of like, I hear you, like, and you're nervous because you don't want people to, but I was like, at some point or another, you just have to draw what you love. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be in opposition to anything else. Like, you don't have to like show up and be like, I'm taking a stand like on your fucking hero soapbox. It's just like, love what you love and draw what you love to draw. And I think if there's a purity of intent, like, you know, if you fuck up, people forgive you if you're sorry. And like, it's like, it's just like, it's complicated in people's heads. It's not really complicated in the outside of the head. You know what I mean? And so I think that's where people.
There's that great line about like edgy jokes, right? Where sorry, go ahead.
Who, me?
I was saying there's that great line about there's a comedian and people were talking about like offensive jokes, and he said like comedy is like getting away with it, right? So like you can do anything. But if people criticize you for being racist or sexist or homophobic or whatever, like it's not on them. It's on you because that's what you put out into the world. Right?
Sure, absolutely. But like I do think that there's like, would we agree that like what you like to draw, like, and your intention in drawing it isn't always like how the world responds to it, right? Like we would agree with that, right?
Yeah. Here's my Spider-Woman drawing. As you can see, ass forward.
I think that's a bit of a misrepresentation of like in comparison to the Manara piece.
I just wrote taste test, controversy tag.
Right.
This is a very young Ramon Villalobos.
But it's cool.
But you get what I'm saying, though, right? Like, there's a certain amount of like.
That's what preface was saying. I agree with everything you're saying. I think it's really easy to undersell like the neuroses of like people that are just kind of trying to be good people, but also are afraid that they're not good people, but they just kind of like what they like to draw, and like it creates a tension internally for people sometimes. that I don't necessarily know is like something that needs to be there, and I don't know if anybody's making them have that. I think that I just had this conversation with a good friend of mine literally 2 days ago, and I was like, dude, everybody knows you're great. Just draw the person with big tits and a big ass if you want to. Like, it's fine.
You know what the solution is, though?
Huh?
You know what the solution is to that?
What?
Be normal like me. Just be normal. Be a normal guy. Don't be a fucking weirdo, and no one will think those things about you.
Well,
That's just a joke. A bit. I've been doing the whole time you've been gone. I've been doing this bit about how normal I am.
Well, I just think like it's easy to forget how neurotic artists can be. You know what I mean? Like, I think that that's kind of what it is, and people really don't like. There's another thing too. Like, there's a lot of self-loathing, like, and I know, like, in the world, and I know it from personal experience. And when you have a lot of that self-loathing, you're just kind of afraid you're a piece of shit every day of your life. You know what I mean? And then, like,
they read too much Bukowski, bro. That's my whole point. Just be normal.
What's that?
They read too much Bukowski.
What's funny is I've never read Bukowski, but
I haven't either, because you and I are normal people, dude.
But am I making sense?
Educated? No, you make sense.
I know we're making jokes, but
you make subversive art independently.
I try to.
Yeah. And like, only once I thought where people were like, that's a little racist, maybe I would chill out on that imagery. But it was not even really a racist imagery that you were doing. It was that you drew like you wanted to do like cartoon gloves, like old cartoons or whatever, right?
Oh, I still draw that shit. I don't, you know.
But you know what I'm saying, though. That was the only time where people were like, I would be careful about that. And it's like, whatever.
Yeah, and I've just decided I'm not going to be careful about that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
if it's going to be...
Why?
Like, huh?
Because you know the content isn't going to make people come to those conclusions. And you, as an artist, have a control over what you project out into the world. Right? If you were unfocused and sloppy, then people would go, oh, this guy might be racist.
I kind of feel like Brian hasn't seen this comic, so it's kind of for him. This whole discussion is great, and I think it should be had, but not spurred off of this comic, because I don't think it deserves this level of discourse.
Well, that's what I was kind of saying. I have no idea about this.
Yeah, it's so crass, and it's clearly somebody who feels slighted because they did not get nominated for an award, and they decided to turn it into like a broader social commentary.
And I hope I don't come off like I'm defending like this.
No. I'm just trying to give you proper context, like, you know, because you haven't seen it, so it's like I don't want you to go too deep on this without like knowing exactly what the instigating thing is.
So she continues, this was not to say brown people have it easy. Well, because the context of it was this person is getting awards. They're getting 2 number 1 awards for the other person, because everybody, all the liberal white guilt people were like, oh, we got to praise this person, even though we don't like their comic, which seems to imply like, if you're not white, people are going to love you more by the virtue of you not being white. Right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So she says, my point is that performative white people have a weak sense of self when they are constantly trying to appease people they think are oppressed. No, not that they think are oppressed. First of all, that's crazy, because there are people who are oppressed through systematic oppression in America and the entire rest of the world, right? So like, it's not maybe that people are trying to impress those people. It's maybe that they're trying to hear what those people have to say, and them giving them their attention hurts your feelings because they're not paying attention to you. And that's it, right? She says, and that shit is fucking annoying and bad for culture, and nobody likes it. That's not true, Alex, because all the other people like it. You don't like it. You and your little group of friends that draw masturbating cartoon comics, you don't like it.
Can I ask a really stupid guy question?
What's up?
What is culture? Like a definition. Like, we throw it around, and I don't think I know what it is. Like, that's I'm not kidding. Like, I think I'm too stupid to get it.
I think it's like supposed to be like the scene or whatever, right? Or like the overall sort of like sort of the water level of like the art that's being made. I don't know, because I don't really give a shit.
I'm not a total idiot.
No, because I don't really. I feel like it's like when I hear about the culture, I usually think of like sort of like hip hop, like black people
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I think.
I never really hear white people talking about culture like that.
No.
Like not like the culture, right?
Yeah, well, because like I guess if I say it, I don't ever define it, but what I usually just kind of mean is like the vibe of society at the moment.
Right.
Like, it's
Like
kind
the
of,
zeitgeist sort of.
yeah, kind of like the sort of entertainment / art zeitgeist of the moment is kind of what I maybe mean when I say like the culture, like, but also like social interaction as well. Like it's
Mhm.
all kind of lumped into like kind of how people communicate through art, communication, and sort of like whatever like modern sort of social sort of I don't know rubrics are. I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say, but I think you know what I'm trying to pick up what I'm putting down. It's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
amorphous to me, but that's what I mean when she says it's bad for culture. I'm like, what is she talking about? Comics? Is she talking about like
I think it means like I think it means like the general sort of like the overall structure of the artistic community that we're all a part of, right? And the thing is like to her that's a very real thing, right? But to people like us who just stay at home drawing comics all the time, it's not so real because we don't go to like parties with like the Fantagraphics weirdos. Like we don't do that. So it's not like we don't have you and I would never have a conversation about the culture of comics, right?
No.
Ever.
Yeah, is there like I wouldn't really even know. I might, but it might be like at a con because I was just at like an event the night before, and I might want to like
we might talk about the general style of comics that we do or do not like, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't like some of the like sort of the dudes who draw in like a certain type of style, or like it's not for me, but like okay, whatever. You know what I mean? My style isn't for them. That's why they draw differently than me. And that's fine. But like I don't think I've ever even said like, oh Brian, comics are so bad these days. I might say like comics don't really inspire me like they used to, but that's like there's so many reasons for that are not the comics suck.
I can't say that. I talk shit about a lot of the big two stuff.
No, I do. I don't talk shit about it. I just say it doesn't like.
I do.
Right.
Like I'll kind of be like, what the fuck? Like, why is this on the shelf? Like, and I think it's just because I hold the big two to such a high standard because it's what I grew up with and some of my favorite artists. So I get kind of shitty. And like because I just kind of, and this is like maybe not something that's good for public consumption, but I don't give a fuck.
Well, I think that's what this person's problem is, by the way. That she didn't just talk to her friends about this, that she told everybody. Because it's totally fine to think that. And like I said, like I've had criticisms of big two comics. Like the reason why they don't inspire me is because I feel like they don't say a whole lot about the world that they exist within. And that's like a huge problem for me because I feel like art should do that. And I feel like it's like a wasted platform. Right.
See, now this is a discussion I would love to unpack separately from this.
Let's do it a different episode because I would love to have that conversation
about that.
Yeah, let's do it a different episode because we still have to finish her thing, get to my cartoon, and then I have to accept my punishment for wading into these waters in the first place.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it says, I could have left that out of the comic, and the point would have still stood. Lesson learned. Never again will I allude to race on America's internet. She's so stupid. It's called the worldwide internet, Alex. It's worldwide. www.whatever.com. .whatthefuck.com. How about that? People chose to read that extremely bad faith. People chose to read into that with extremely bad faith interpretations, but I understand why some might. Do you understand? Because I don't feel like you do based on this thing that you wrote. I feel a strong sense of justice to the freedom of expression. No, you don't, Alex. You couldn't, or you wouldn't be writing this long cope fest. If you did, none of this would have come out of your mouth, would have never been put on the internet. None of this thing that you're writing right now. Because you would have just said, oh, okay, people don't like what I said. On to the next comic. That's all you had to do. That's it. But because you're upset, now you have to say, people took me in bad faith. People tried to cancel me. No, they didn't. They just said you suck. And that's it.
They booed you.
Nobody said Fantagraphics shouldn't publish you. Nobody said that the store, other Floating Worlds comics, nobody said, hey, you shouldn't have this person that's signing there this week. Nobody said that. Not one person said that you shouldn't be allowed to exist in comics. You're just upset because people said that you suck, and they should have because you do. She says, you are free to dislike, disagree, or even hate me. Oh, no, sorry, I skipped the line. People shouldn't be piled on for a fucking cartoon, regardless of what that cartoon is, right? Wow, I can't believe she said fucking in there, dude. She's so upset. She's triggered, dude. She's coping and she's triggered. Ladies and gentlemen, we got her. She's coping and she is triggered. We thought she couldn't be triggered. She used to trigger other people. Now she's triggered, so she's upset. That's a shame. It's too bad. She says, you are free to dislike, disagree, or even hate me. Well, we do. But we do. So why are you saying that people can't be mad and that people are free to dislike, disagree, or even hate you? I feel like that's a contradiction within itself, like one sentence to the next. But anyways, she says, this is the line that got me the most pissed off. But save this kind of vitriol for violent serial rapists, not artists making $20K a year. Now, when I said that,
she did a whole comic. She did a whole comic based on hating somebody else's comic. So she turned her vitriol onto another comic.
Why didn't this comic bitch about serial rapists?
Yeah,
if that's her problem, then why didn't it do that? You know, I'm making some comics of my own for, you know, like that I want to make, and they're about capitalism. They're about, you know, ICE and how much I hate like American colonialism, you know, and the way that they treat immigrants. I'm making comic books just about romance and, you know, things that are in the world. You made a comic about other comics that you didn't like. So you can't say that if that's not what you're making the stuff about, or if this is what you made and people are reacting to it, don't say like, why are you talking about me when you could be talking about other people, right? Or also, on top of that, when somebody does say something about a violent serial rapist or just a rapist, maybe you shouldn't have been in the past saying that people shouldn't speak up on that. Now, you would certainly think that if she wrote that now, that she wouldn't have said that before, right? She would never, ever tell somebody who spoke out against a rapist that they should shut the fuck up. You would think that, right, Brian?
I mean, I suppose so.
But you know what she did? She did that. And you know who she did that to?
Who?
Me, Brian. She told me to shut up when I was speaking out against people who were accused of sexual assault 2 years ago. And I forgot this because, like I said at the beginning of the stream, you weren't here yet. I was like, who is this person? Why is she getting upset? Like, why is the name familiar?
Yeah, this explains why we're doing this at length.
Well, no. Like, you know, if you heard the beginning, you would know that basically up front, I was like, I don't even remember her, but the cartoon sucks and it annoys me. And then I looked up why I remembered her name, and I was like, this is unbelievable. She got mad at me because I was saying that I thought Brandon Graham was like kind of a creep because of all the allegations against him, and also David Cho, who said on his podcast that he raped somebody. And then I said, oh, that's disgusting. And she said, you're a keyboard. She called me a keyboard warrior. She's in her 30s. She's as old as me.
Is it okay if I call her an old soul? Because like she's talking like she's 50 right now.
Yeah.
So here's what she told me, Brian. She told me, and I'm going to screen share this because I want people to see that I'm not making this up. That I looked this up on Twitter because I didn't delete my Twitter even though Elon Musk took over. I kept it just in case one of these days I had to pull up these kind of conversations. I said, I need to know that that my words still exist on the internet. I don't want people to lie about the things I said in the past. So this was her reaction to me. She said, hey, you need to log off and touch some grass. You're not a savior of women and trans people that you strangely imagine yourself to be. You're a guy sitting on a computer with crumbs in his keyboard. That part is true. The rest of it isn't true. I am a savior. I am an ally. And to
You do have
prove that,
crumbs.
my trans friend Tamara Bonvion said, I'm sorry, that is simply not true. And then she posted about in 2019 how I received the very real and prestigious Ally of the Year award. Tell me, does somebody who's not a savior of women and trans people get an Ally of the Year award?
I love
They do
the,
not.
the Dremel tool engraving on that is spectacular as well.
Yeah, Tamara's a professional artist.
It's a very real award. I have it somewhere back here. I have so many awards that it would be impossible for me to get it out. But you see, she was owned by Tamara, and then I also owned her as well. I'm gonna screen. Let me stop this. Let me present again. Share screen. Here we go. So I said, it's funny how people equate doing the bare minimum, which is what I do by simply choosing not to associate with rapists and scumbags, with self-righteousness. I don't think I'm a fucking amazing person for doing that. I think it's incredibly weird that you think that I would. And then she said, being a reactive, angry keyboard warrior is contributing nothing good to the world. Now, remember, this is the person who said, save the anger for violent serial rapists. Is somebody who rapes people a violent serial rapist? No, but they are a rapist.
Well,
So
that's
maybe
the problem. You should have waited.
I should have let David Show do it again.
There was more damage in the wake before you.
I should have done that. You're right. I should have done that.
What about
So
what about spree criminals? Do they count too?
Again, I'm only calling him that because that's what he called himself. He said, I'm a very successful rapist. That's on his podcast. You can look it up. Although it's hard to find it because he was DMCAing people who posted it. Because technically he owned the IP to his podcast.
That's crazy work.
I know. That's what I said. That's why I said, like, it's so weird of him to do that. Anyways, she says, your absolute fixation, she says, that what I was doing was contributing to the erosion of the quality of life. For who? People being victims of rape and abuse? That's crazy. Anyway, she says, your absolute fixation on these issues makes me think you have a guilty conscience and not that you actually care. Wow. I can't. She said that it's because I'm hiding something. Alex, one thing, if you watch all 2 hours of this, there's one thing I want you to remember from this conversation. It's that I, Ramon Villalobos, am not like you. I'm normal. I've never read Charles Bukowski, not once, not a single page, I've not even watched 15 minutes of one of his movies. I turned it off at minute 14 because I thought this is too weird and I'm too normal to be watching this media. It's not made for me. It's made for freaks. Okay? So I said, my absolute fixation is actually just like several tweets. That's the thing is all these people were like, you tweet too much about this. I'm like, no, I tweeted like 3 times about this. To you, that's a lot. To me, that is not much. That is 140 characters.
That's the thing that's listening to this is so maddening to me because like, it's like in this arbitrary like space that like everybody kind of like everyone's fucking metrics for like the right amount of anything is just completely made up on the fly.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So she said, so I said,
brain scramble to me.
If that's the case, I have a maniacal obsession about the Golden State Warriors.
You do.
Either tweets are meaningless and I'm a keyboard warrior, or they aren't and I have done nothing. You really can't have it both ways here. And that's the thing is like either my tweets have real world implications that they cause harm to the world, and then I am a keyboard warrior who is effective, or my tweets mean nothing. And so then why do you care that how much I tweet? I could tweet 1,000 times about this and it wouldn't make a difference, right? That's the point. Is like, I don't think that my tweets matter. I don't even have that big of a following, right? So like, what is the difference? But her, she gets to make this shitty cartoon. And if you criticize her at all, you're being mean to her. An artist that only makes $20,000 a year. Well, guess what? I don't give a shit, Alex. I think you should shut the fuck up if you can't take the criticism. And so because I'm not an idiot, I didn't write a blog on my website that you can click through. Because I'm a cartoonist, because I'm a real old school pro, I made another cartoon. I owned her again on the cartooning front. Okay, so we're gonna go through this one kind of fast so that I can take my punishment. Because I shouldn't be getting involved in this. My family members called me up and said, Ramon, you promised you wouldn't do this again. So I said, because they saw this cartoon and they said, "Damn, you really owned her in the marketplace of ideas." So I walk up to this person, this droopy woman, and I said, "Hi," or I said, "Hey, it's the second most famous cartoonist named Alex Graham." People said, "Why did you put that line?" It's because there's another Alex Graham that cartoonist. If you Google Alex Graham cartoonist, she's not even the first one. She's the second one. The other one made cartoons about dogs that don't masturbate and do drugs. Okay, she does. That's the difference. So I said, so glad to talk to you instead of that rabbit, because unlike last time, I'm not talking to the rabbit. Alex, I'm talking right to you, okay? That's who I'm talking to. Don't want to talk to the rabbit. I want to talk to a real person, okay? He's so pretentious, and she says hi, but she's sad looking, right? Because she knows that she's been humiliated, she's been triggered, she's been owned. So she says, there is a dearth of good art and storytelling in the broader culture at the moment. This is because everyone is paralyzed by fear of saying or liking the wrong thing. Even you made a comic and you never do that. Wow. You see what I did there? I made a joke about myself because I'm a slow artist whose work rarely comes out. Why? Because I've self-reflected, Alex. I've internalized criticisms about me, and now I can put it in this beautiful cartoon that I've drawn. And you can't say, oh, you don't even make that many comics. Why? Because I've nullified your arguments before you've even made it. Because I'm a smart person who's never read Bukowski, not once, not one word.
Well, it's a little wild to me to assume that there's a dearth of quality. Like that's just a wild claim.
It's stupid.
She's
not following the right people. She's not following me. That's a fact.
You might have a case to say it's fucking really, really hard to find really good stuff because the internet has fragmented things so much.
Yeah.
But I don't know, there's fucking great shit. It's just kind of a pain in the ass to keep track of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, well, yeah, I did that because I think you suck and your art sucks. And even more, your ideas suck. The beautiful thing is that I'm allowed to say that. Don't cry about it, internalize it, and grow. Or don't, but spare me the crybaby justifications. See, that's me looking down on her from on high, offering her my wisdoms as a cartoonist who can draw well and tell stories and write at minimum freshman high school AP English level. At minimum, Alex. You couldn't do that. I saw your work. You couldn't do it. You tried and you failed. Says, let me tell you a story. See, this is me now. Because I'm a genius cartoonist, I said, let me take the viewer just to me. This is sort of a Jonathan Demme sort of moment. Close up on me. So I could. This is my Jonathan Demme moment for real, Brian. Let me tell you a story. In high school, I raised pigs in the FFA. It was called Swine Club. The first night, we went to feed the pigs, and in the excitement, one pig got trampled and broke its leg. I still remember the sound of its squeals. This is a true story, by the way. This really happened. I was in the FFA.
I believe this.
I practice animal husbandry. I had a pig, and its name was Chop Suey because I love System of a Down and Toxicity had just come out. This obviously was not Chop Suey, the pig that I drew right here. It was a Duroc pig, by the way. Beautiful red pig, gorgeous. I took last place, though. It says, it had to be put down fast to end the suffering and to prevent cannibalism in young pigs. Lesson being, pylons are no fun. A literal pylon. An actual pig died here. But we've all got to eat, and nobody wants to hear you're crying. That's a crazy story, right? That's sort of like some shit Hannibal Lecter would say, but that's called writing. That's called pacing. There's a joke. There's a beautiful drawing of a pig. And again, because I'm not a freak, it's not a sexual pig. It's just a pig dying because it has a broken leg and it's being trampled by its peers.
But if it was a sexual pig, it's fine. I will allow it.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Like I said, I never read Bukowski, though. And then my last panel says, anyways, I didn't feel like inking this, but I wanted to tell you to shut up. And that's my comic. That was my response comic, It was a little unhinged, I admit. It was a little mean, but she really did inspire me with what she said of people are afraid of saying or doing the wrong thing. So So I said, you know what? I'm going to go deep into my bag and I'm going to tell you how I really feel. I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm just going to be real with you. And this is how I really felt. So Alex, you've been owned.
I was
everybody
really
loved my comic.
I was really hoping you were going to say like, and you know, I listened to your advice and I went deep into my bag and I'm just fuck. I can't remember what I thought you were going to say, but it was something to the effect of like, be very mean. Whatever.
Well, the thing is, I don't want to be mean. My goal is to be more kind, Brian. You know that about me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been trying to have more sympathy and more compassion, even to Alex, even to a dim-witted individual who writes at a sub-freshman AP English level, right? So, like, I'm trying really, really hard, but she antagonized me so much 2 years ago that I had to unload the clip just one time for the one time. But I promised I would not do that in the past to my friends, to my family. And I'm going to tell you another story from my past. When I was a kid, my mom, she caught me saying a bad word. I'm talking like I'm in kindergarten. I think I called my sister stupid. She said, we don't do that. That's mean. I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap. You know what I told her? Said, I don't care. I like it. I don't mind the taste. So you know what she did? She pulled out a bottle of Tapatía hot sauce and made me drink a shot glass full of it.
Tapatía? We have that shit in rules.
Now listen, you might like it, but while I like the taste of spice, my body cannot handle it.
Oh man, I put it on everything.
So to punish myself, I bought 3 bags of spicy chips.
Oh shit. I
bought the jalapeno cheddar Cheetos. I heard these ones are fire.
Steph's looking forward to it. You can see him back there.
I bought the Flamin' Hot sour cream and cheddar because these are just bangers without the spicy. So let me taste them with him. These are also the LeBron shit, by the way.
Nice.
So that extra punishment because he's not the GOAT. And then I got Doritos Tapatio, and I feel like these are gonna bang. By the way, I've only heard. I bought these, as you can see, it's a bigger size. I bought them because I heard these fucking bang. But the thing is, like, I've had Tapatio, like, top ramen, and it was incredible. But I physically was crying. So I'm going to eat these chips as punishment for all the bad things that I've said the last few days, the things I've said and done.
You're like
so we're going to start.
You're like that dude in the Da Vinci Code, like tightening the stylus on his fucking thigh from the Opus Dei.
So these ones are good?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I thought you said you had the cheddar jalapeno Cheetos.
No,
I have.
Oh, these ones bang, Tony?
Yeah, I like them.
Okay, I'm going to try it out. What have you been up to, Brian?
Oh, bro. A lot. I don't know, like just a lot of work and family stuff. Yeah, living a very high speed interior life. You know, it's going like I guess working through a lot of shit. You know, nothing like terrible or anything, but
that's cool. You're not getting into any online dramas?
No, man. No,
that's good. You shouldn't do that. It's not productive. It's not good.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. These are good. These got a little bit of spice in them, but they're not spicy at all.
No.
That's why they don't put flames on them. But they're tasty as fuck. I got to be honest.
Yeah, it sounds like you're not really punishing you. It sounds like more of a reward.
Yeah. So I got to stop eating these because they're too tasty and they're not even. I mean, the thing is, all these are going to be tasty. But like I'm obviously not even. It didn't even put a dent in my armor. But I'm telling you, like last time I hung out with my family, I was eating some nachos and I bit a jalapeno that I didn't know was pickled, and I was fucked up. My nephew was like, "Are you okay? Like, are you fine? It looks like you're gonna die." I said, "I'm good. It's just these chips are too spicy for me." Okay. Moving up to the flaming hot cheddar and sour cream.
That's probably chilled too.
Yeah.
I bet it is, but they're flaming hot. They got little flames on them.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't believe anything that's advertised to me.
Yeah, those are normie chips, you know.
Yeah.
Well, these are the LeBron chips, so of course they're not.
The hot chip. You should have got the fucking one chip challenge on this shit.
I can't do that. I told him I'd die. See, this is starting to affect me. I can't lie. I'm starting to get a little fucked up over here.
Are you sweating? Is your scalp sweating?
You're like, is this? I feel like this is like in place of a couple of our fathers or whatever. You're
Yeah, it's my Catholic side. They wanted me to be the new pope. I had to tell them, listen, I would love to, but I have deadlines.
yeah. I guess we'll go to this guy.
Well, you knew they were looking at America. They wanted an American pope, and they were like, Ramon, you're our #1 guy. And I said, I would love to do it. My family would like, it would be an honor. They would be like, wow, Ramon.
It was a shock they didn't go with you, but you know.
Well, it's I turned them down. I told them no.
You don't want to relocate.
These are good, but guys, they're too good,
They're
and
too good.
they're not doing anything to me. Clearly, I mean, like my tongue is like going like, what are you doing? Like, stop it.
I feel like you
Well,
should have got the Flamin' Hots. You know, that would have been the.
Those weren't Flamin' Hots.
Yeah, but those are the sour cream and onion.
No. Those
The
are
cheddar
Flamin' Hot
cheddar.
though. It literally.
Yeah, but the sour cream like negates spice. Just,
I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't want to say it out loud in case I look like an idiot. But
Yeah.
I know it negates spice. That's why I brought in the sour cream for these ones. I knew they're gonna fuck me up. Probably Tapatio flavored. But guys, you can't tell, but my eyes are starting to water a little bit. I'm starting to get fucked up. My mouth is like now burning. I can't lie. Okay.
Tapatio hitting you.
it's not. It's just flashbacks. It's not actually pain.
Yeah, he's thinking about the time his mom made him drink a
Like
shot
fucking-
glass of it.
Malcolm McDowell and Clockwork Orange, like rewritten some shit.
By the way, our boy Mark Martinez, who was in the chat earlier, I don't know if he still is, he had tweeted, the funniest thing about the Alex Graham thing now is how there were initial comments from cartoonists praising her, and now they're gone as soon as the backlash happened. Stand on your motherfucking business, right?
Mm.
One guy, Mike Kupperman, you familiar with his work?
Yeah.
No.
He tweeted, I'll step up. Alex is tirelessly doing amazing work that reminds me of why I wanted to do comics. Most of the response to her comics, if not all, is deliberately misunderstanding the point for outrage value. No, it isn't.
What?
He's wrong.
Kupperman is usually pretty funny though. I don't know
That was
anything
hilarious.
Huh?
That was hilarious what he wrote there.
Well, that wasn't. That's what I'm saying. He's usually pretty funny, but that sucks. I don't
I
even.
mean, these are good.
I can't even recall Kupperman's cartoons. I just remember like shit he says it's funny. That's all. I don't even remember that. I just remember chuckling because I see his name. Yeah, it just sucks that like I don't know. Like I feel like just shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like
Who, Mike?
no. I mean like just Alex. Like just shut the fuck up. Like put like I guess I would just say like make comics. You know what I mean? Like, but like if you're so concerned about being misunderstood all the time, then maybe don't do it in like a 3-panel strip or whatever. You know what I mean? Like do a fucking story where like you know like you actually explore something a little earnestly, and it's not just some sort of fucking like I don't know like one-off like shoot from the hip fucking I don't know, it's just bizarre like and you know like people no one has to agree with it, but it's also like just fucking I don't get it, dude. That's why I didn't get on the internet. I just don't understand this. I don't understand it. Like
I would never like publicly shit talk another artist's work or like kind of, you know, shit on them as in a way to like get attention on myself. It just feels like in it, you know, because I feel like I was slighted. It's just like why do that? Like what?
That's like a whole other thing I keep forgetting is like you guys are kind of like this is a response to someone else getting an award.
Yeah, of an award. Like that's not why you do this for awards. You do this because you love to draw and you love to make comics and make art. And awards are like, who gives a fuck? Like
Dude,
it doesn't.
like such whiny baby bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you got the award, great. Use it to promote yourself and help your career. But if you don't get the award, who cares? It doesn't invalidate you. Like
I don't know. Like this is just kind of maybe a hypothetical thing. I'm shooting from the hip here, but like if you make challenging, difficult art, you kind of have to expect people to not give it an award because it's not like, lovable. Like it's fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like if you see yourself as sort of like a contentious figure, like Ramon, you gonna make it?
I'm good, but it's starting to really fuck me up now. He was like, I was like, they're nothing. They're fucking chill. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Which is the worst? Which is the one that hits the hardest?
I mean, Tapatio is the only one that even slightly starts to hit, but and even that, it took a build up. It took of coating my mouth in this cheese dust, but now, oh my god, it's there, and every time I breathe, it's starting to get into my like sinus and stuff.
Oh shit!
I gotta say, Pepsi Zero. I like it.
W. I got one too in solidarity. I was gonna drink it with you, but we ran long, and then the problem was it now is warm, so I don't want to drink. I would never drink a warm soda.
Yeah,
why?
I started
because I'm normal.
You haven't read Bukowski, I know.
Yeah, here's my thing. These like I said, this Tapatio is fucking delicious. It's just my body can't handle it. But check this out. I bought a lime and I quartered it. And I'm gonna squeeze like a little bit of that lime juice on this motherfucker.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm getting taken to Flavor Town right now, baby.
This sounds tight.
Oh my god, what a sensation!
So hold on. So have we moved on from this like kind of like sad like person's like comic book? Are we on what's the next topic here?
Oh, I wanted to read a black lesbian writer's reaction to it.
Okay.
But now I don't think we have time and you're here, so I'd rather just talk to you about something else. What do you got on your mind?
Oh, I don't know. You're asking me on the spot, nothing really like that I can kind of.
Oh, it seemed like you were like you had something. You're like it seemed like you were gonna. I didn't.
You had said like you get frustrated that like things don't say anything and it's a wasted platform because you feel like art should say should use that platform to say something or other.
Let's have that conversation.
And I just fundamentally disagree. I don't think art should do anything in particular.
Go ahead. Well, it is a disagreement that you and I have. Of like, I guess like what I'm saying is like it doesn't always have to be political.
Sure.
It just has to. Oh my god. It just has to like it has to resonate in some way about something, and I guess you're right. It doesn't, right? But I like it better when it does.
Right.
Like when I watch old movies, and there's like an undercurrent of something political or something that says something about the society in which that art was created. I feel like I get more out of it. So like.
Sure.
To me, it's like a waste when the comics are just like they feel disposable because not a lot of writers are putting stuff into the world that is saying something about the world that they exist within.
Yeah, and so with I'll agree with you on that. Like I like when stuff. So I think so. Here's what I think: art says something whether they want to or not. Somebody, one of my friends, we were talking about movies, and they kind of made this throwaway statement where they were like, I love a director where you can just tell the weird like baggage and kinks that they're working throughout their oeuvre,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like I agree with that statement. I do really like that, but a lot of times like it's kind of like a subconscious thing that just comes out in all of their work.
Well, that is a thing, right? Like it doesn't have to be the writer's intent,
right,
or the artist's intent. But it should, but I feel like so many comics, they're designed to not have stuff in there that resonates. And I'm not saying, this is like a very broad brush. Like, I'm not saying that's how all comics are. And people get a lot of stuff out of a lot of different comics. But, like, I think the reason why the absolute books are so successful is because they're allowing people to make stuff with a purpose behind it, with a point of view behind it that is not just like sort of surface level entertainment.
Oh, for sure. I think that, and I think depth, there.
I'm actually starting to tear up over here.
It's hard to put.
It's actually starting to get to me.
I'm fucking tearing up, dude. This is so sad. Oh, you're tearing. I think you said I was.
No, I am because of the chips, man.
Yeah, I don't really buy into like the nobody can say anything anymore sort of shit. I do think there's like this sort of like headiness, like people like to be smart, and I'm kind of like over it. Like I want like people to just kind of like be like brave with their feelings, you know? Like I
Yeah,
want
but emotional self-reflection is like that is valid, and that is something that is also inherently political in a lot of systems, right?
totally.
So like I don't always have to say like you have to make a statement that's like, you know, people should take the means of production away. That's not like the totality of like Marxist critiques on things, right? But I just hate when things are made that like the point is moving sort of like action figures around for like the cheapest thrills. You know what I mean?
Sure, and I don't like that either. But I would also not contend that it's not valid, right?
And
Like
also, if it's stylistically done, then that's the other thing. If it's stylistically done, if it's like Hush 2, I don't give a fuck. I'm reading it, right?
right. I'm reading it. Well, did you read House of Hush?
Mm-mm.
There's a House of Hush.
Yeah. It's like a 6-issue series.
I didn't know
So,
about that.
Yeah, Paul Dini and Dustin Wen did it.
Well,
It
Dustin
came
Lin
out.
is a beast. He's a good artist.
It came out in that series Streets of Gotham.
Oh, I remember when that came out. I never read it though. You like it?
Yeah, it's good. But no, I think that there's so much like, I guess like talk about like what should or shouldn't be in a lot of this stuff, and I just kind of feel like no, yeah, you know what I mean? Like if you feel like it should be X, Y, or Z for it to resonate, or for it to fit in some like sort of in some sort of craft sort of rubric, like yeah, of course. But like I think there's this, I was going through I was looking at like this story worksheet that I came across, and toward the end it was like at the bottom, like because it was like questions and stuff you can ask yourself about your story, so you can kind of go, and toward the end it was like, what's the lesson you'd like people to take away? And I like crossed it out immediately. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, I'm not fucking here for this shit. I'm not fucking teaching. And if I am, like, I'm kind of more teaching you about me and like how I make shit, but it's not like I don't have like some shit I'm trying to like tell you about something beyond just like these characters in this environment. And I don't think that people that do it that way, I don't think that question's invalid, or that people shouldn't use that or should use it. It's just kind of like your process is your process. If you want to, like make some shit that's kind of absurdist and doesn't really like, you don't recognize the fucking through line or whatever, like I think that's completely valid too. So that's what I was kind of reacting to when you had said that. Not that, and I didn't think that we would even inherently disagree, but I wanted to talk about it because I think it's fun.
Yeah, well, like, so like there's different ways to think about this, right? Like, so you know me, I've been on this whole Western kick, right?
Yeah.
And I love Westerns because there's so many movies that are just like super political, but they're also like broad entertainment. It was the entertainment of its time.
Right.
So like not that long ago, I watched this one called like I think it was called Silver Load, and it was written by a woman who was about to be blacklisted. And so it was kind of like a big fuck you to all the people that were blacklisting her. The movie got made, and it's about a guy who's getting married, and this dude named McCarthy comes into town. And he tells the people that he works for the what's it called, like the sheriff or whatever, like it's a ranger. He said he was like a state ranger. See, I have to keep drinking because of the start. Like if I don't, I'm gonna keep fucking like crying up and stuff. It got me. So anyways, that's like the point of it, but the beautiful thing of the story is like the guy comes up, and at first all the people are like, no, this guy, he couldn't have done this. Like he's not a bad guy. He's being arrested because the guy said that he killed and shot his brother and stole like $200,000 from him or whatever.
Damn.
And all people are like, No. Like, we know this guy. He's a good guy. He has a farm. He has a wife. We're at his wedding right now. It's beautiful. So they all march down to the center of town with him to like have his back. And then as the movie goes on, there's like a couple misunderstandings, and then people start going like, how did he, when he came here, he did deposit $200,000 or $20,000, and we really don't know that much about his backstory, and maybe he is a piece of shit. Maybe he did kill this guy's brother, shot him in the back, you know? So then by the end of the movie, they're chasing him through the streets, trying to kill him, because they, like, you slowly see this community turn against it. And the whole thing was just, it's like entertaining as a movie, and it's really well directed. Off the top of my head, I can't remember who's directed it, but it's really well made. And the like good action sequences and everything, and you don't think about the politics of it as you're watching it. That's why it's good, right? It's like the critique of the culture of like the Red Scare, and how all of these Hollywood socialists found themselves being ratted on by their people that dealt with their friends. Like it created an energy that person had to represent in this script and in this movie, that if you knew that was the case, then yeah, you're going to get that out of it, right? But I think that's so cool. And then the reason why a lot of modern Westerns suck is because they are just about the time and the aesthetics of it. Like a movie like Silverado is about nothing. But it's a fun movie, but it doesn't, like, I can't tell you what the plot is really, because it didn't move me in any way. It didn't have any sort of message about the time it was created, other than like I felt like I thought like, oh, this would make a fun like pinball machine, like it would have the aesthetics of that, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a funny way to put it too.
But yeah, I mean, that, so like, you know, like when we were talking about like the Nosferatu movie, which I loved, you know.
Yeah, me too.
Like, it's fun to watch all those movies and see the little changes that they make, and how like the Mina character is given more agency in certain movies than the other movies, and how like the 70s one, the Herzog one, was more about like the people and the plague and how they reacted to that than about any of like the dark shit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like you see the same story told different ways, and they're all sort of inherently political and about sex and about sort of like, you know, sort of this desire that is uncontrollable, but it's all represented in different ways, right? And they're better than like maybe a Dracula movie like Dracula 2000, which is just about trying to scare people, or, you know what, better yet, The Curse of the Demeter, which is just about the boat, right?
Which is funny because I haven't seen that, but I like that director generally.
It wasn't very good. I didn't like it personally, but maybe you will, you know.
It's a bummer.
But yeah, it was that's the thing about those other comics, like about that scene, is like all these people, they have an audience that is, I think, so disaffected, and that level of disaffection helps nobody, but they just want to keep fostering it, because like it's easier to just be sort of a fence sitter who's like hates everything and like existing within like a place of privilege where you are living at the tip of the empire currently, you know, who knows how long it's going to last, that we are at the spear of this fucking thing, so that we are the most sort of comfortable within the structures of capitalism. Like we have a level of comfort, and so to be nihilistic in that, instead of looking at it and trying to think like, man, I wish there was a way the world could be better and that people were not so exploited, but to just think of that and be like, oh, whatever, I don't care about any of that, to me is like a little sad. To not even acknowledge the misery of other people, to not even acknowledge the fact that it's, yes, you're allowed to live a life where all you care about is smoking cigarettes and jacking off and reading pretentious novelists.
Well, that's not true. Once they get snubbed for an award, they care about something enough to make
right, free speech.
Yeah.
Their free speech is only about saying, like, I'm sad and horny. It's valid. You know, that's what Nosferatu is about.
Sure.
But you know, like, just I feel like there's so much more to the world than that, and like her just lashing out after she was racist is just so silly to me.
Yeah, I think like I have zero problem with someone wanting to just kind of stay in a really narrow, like if they just want to keep making comics about their dating exploits, like, and that's
Sure.
it, right?
Sure.
Like, and they want to do
Or whatever
that,
comics are about.
right? Yeah, I'm just saying, like, whatever it, it
Yeah.
could be something really small and like just lived experience and like being sad that like the cost of cigarettes goes up every year or whatever. Like I don't think anyone, if that's kind of like how you explore yourself and express yourself and all that stuff, I think that's all well and good. I do think that like kind of taking some like pseudo heroic stand that like you're the fucking like like you're the Roman wall of like like artists. That's the bizarre part to me, which is like it's like you have to like validate yourself by denigrating other things. That's really strange, like, because to me it's just such a like clearly insecure position to take. And it's okay to be insecure. I'm deeply insecure.
Yeah, we all are.
Like I don't think there's
I
anything
used to be
wrong.
more so.
Right. Yeah, I used to be more so as
Yeah.
well. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm much better.
There are still things that I'm always like, oh god, that sucks or whatever.
Yeah,
But like you said, that's like the internal conflict.
Yeah, and
growing.
I don't like, I think that there's this like self-justification that people have to perform, or they don't have to, but they feel like they have to perform to like validate themselves or something, like, because
Right.
probably they don't feel that their work is valid, and then when it gets snubbed for an award, like they lost their shot at like being a real person. And it's like, you've been real the whole time though. It's okay. like and your work is still your work and it's still valid and all that stuff. Like you don't need a fucking award, and you don't need to like take some sort of heroic like phony baloney stand to like just stand in your own like realness. It's bizarre to me. I mean, I'm not even really judging. I mean, like, this is almost like I'm not talking about the situation inherently now at this point.
Right.
It's like kind of more abstract. It's like, just like it's I don't know, just like fucking chill. You know what I mean? Like, like have some confidence in yourself,
By the way, these were the best ones. And then these ones, which were the least spicy.
Yeah.
Just on the rear. They just taste like Cheetos, but with like a little bit of edge to them.
Yeah.
And then
Cheetos.
these ones were also good, but they were just like sour cream and onion chips, like a little bit of heat on them. They're nothing crazy. So like that's the ranking of them.
Mhm.
And plus these ones were LeBron James chips, so like not GOAT level. They're L for LeBron.
Not to kind of keep banging this drum, but like somebody said to me one time is like, most of the time when someone kind of sounds crazy and they're accusing you of being a certain way, it's just because like they're just telling you what they're doing,
Yeah.
And when she talks about like I know that the backlash to my statement like is going to make people that were already nervous crawl back like into like, I think she's probably just like reflecting on how she feels,
Right.
Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to sit there, like, I don't know. This stuff just always makes me feel bad because it's like, this is just such a, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying you made me feel bad or she made me feel bad. It just makes me feel bad in general. It's like, God damn, like.
Well, listen, it makes me feel bad too. And since I got so much, since I was such a pig in shit about it, I had to eat the hot chips.
Yeah. And I'm proud of you.
I would rather eat a Cool Ranch Dorito with no spice on it.
Right.
If it was up to me, I would not get any spicy chip. You might say, "Oh, those aren't even that spicy." You're right; they weren't. Like those two were not that spicy. Those ones started to get to me a little bit. I will only be enjoying them with sour cream from here on out, and some lime because that did bang when I did that. But I, like I said, like I don't enjoy doing that. Like it makes me feel like I'm going out of my way to try to hurt people again, and I do not want to do that, right? But on the other hand, like these people are like, we actively do want to hurt people who will not defend themselves or maybe cannot defend themselves. And I was like, fuck off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just seemed like they chose the softest target. And it just irritated me so much.
Sure.
To see, especially when I first saw it, it was all people like just doing the fucking circle jerk of like, yeah, totally. Oh, so right. Oh, yeah. People really are just liking these comics because of woke. And it's like, fuck, dude, like, we exist in a time where everything that is even a little bit sort of left of center, they're trying to destroy it as hard as they can. And you're telling me that you're going to approach this, you're saying you're approaching this from the left. You're not. You're just not, or you wouldn't have said it. You wouldn't have had the neoliberal white guilt. No, you wouldn't have done that.
I mean, that's also getting to the point now, which some people say it, where it just washes over me, or someone uses that as like a slur, not a slur, but like a derogatory thing about somebody. It's like, all right, that's just become like a catch-all now, where it's like, if you don't, if you disagree with me for whatever reason, it can be minuscule, you're all of a sudden this thing.
I also think pushing back on that on a certain level, it contributes to the general tone of like this kind of conversation of like, no, it's actually cringe to complain about people being woke now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for a long time, it was only like, if you're anti-woke, you're not cringe. But now I feel like we can like people, there are more people who are not these fucking weird fascist freaks. And you can push back when you see this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And be like, no, actually, you're the one embarrassing yourself right now because you sound weird. You sound racist, and that's a weird thing to be.
Yeah.
It sounds like you read Bukowski. Skinner said, "You're speaking to a greater sociological situation that I don't think a lot of pretentious people are aware of. The implications of everything is political, and it requires energy to investigate." Then Daniel W. says, "Eat hot chips for redemption." And that was the idea. It was just like a sort of little bit of punishment.
Should have got hotter chips.
I've got my Book of Common Prayer. I can like absolve you of your sins and all that stuff. Like they have the whole ritual in there. So
I will be talking to God about this. As you know, I was sort of second line up for popehood.
Yeah, it's good.
You know what's crazy too, by the way, is I looked up an interview with Alex because I just wanted to get a little sense of like who she is as a person. So we were going to be spending nearly 3 hours discussing her today. I wanted to like read a little bit of her words.
It's a hell of a day to come in.
Really
I know. Any other day we would be less obsessive about one individual. But I'm telling you, these people they're just nasty people. It's not just her. It's her friends. They think it's really cool to be these nihilistic dorks. And I think it's cool to tell them to go fuck themselves. That's what I think. And I do it all the time, and they don't like it because they're usually the ones that like I don't give a fuck. But then they do obviously get triggered when I tell them that they're fucking idiots. Anyway, she talks about. I was looking at this interview, and she says this. At the time, it'd been a month and a half since the George Floyd murder, and the protests were ramping up. When that first happened, I and many other artists experienced something of an ego death. Wait, you took the George Floyd murder and made it about yourself? About your ego death? Nobody was making art because, hey, art is a selfish pursuit, and people are suffering. Why should I focus on myself? Okay. I hadn't touched a paintbrush or pencil or pen in months, which is probably my longest break in years. Anyway, one day I'd been reading Factotum by Charles Bukowski.
Bruh.
You can't be reading that, Alex. That's fucking weird. Nobody likes Bukowski. That's normal. Read Steinbeck. Okay? Read Karl Marx.
Bruh.
You know what I'm saying? So she was reading Bukowski at the bar where she worked, and she came to a paragraph where he's talking about working in a dog biscuit factory.
Bruh.
That's weird, Alex. That shouldn't have inspired you. You shouldn't have been like, oh, I don't want to draw because George Floyd got murdered, but actually I want to draw about dog biscuits. That's bizarre. Anyways, she continues. Suddenly, I decided I was done reading. Well, that was good because she put down the Bukowski. I wanted to draw, or rather, I was going to force myself to draw because of how painfully bored I was. I remember after George Floyd murdered, there were people in the streets. I don't remember what they were doing, but there was a lot of people mobilizing to do something. And it wasn't reading Charles Bukowski and being bored. I guess we'll never know. I guess we will never know. Anyways, later on in this thing, she continues about how fuck, where is it? I lost it. Oh. She wrote about these bike cops in the story. They're bike cops with like ass faces and they're wearing little crowns. And she says, I felt that if I was going to write a pandemic story, I had to address the police brutality in some way. Right. I think that's smart. If I didn't, it would be out of deliberate avoidance. And that's so typical of white artists. White artists? What does that sound like to you, to this person? What does it sound like they're expressing when they're like, if I don't say this, then I would be wrong? What? Oh, God. I feel like there's a 2-word expression for what she is feeling in this moment. Help me out. As you guys are white, what would you say that is if you as a white person felt, what is the word for it?
Guilty?
That's it. Guilty. She has white guilt.
Oh
My God.
Bruh. Bruh.
What are you doing, Alex? You're woke.
Bruh.
You're cringe.
Bruh.
You're disgusting.
Bruh.
You're an idiot.
Bruh.
You can't
Bruh.
you can't write at a freshman high school AP English level.
Bruh.
You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. Anyways, she continues, but it made some people very uncomfortable. Some lugna in the comments even tried to interrogate me at one point, saying, why are you so focused on police brutality? You're just distracting from the rest of the story.
How can you be so brave? You know, can I be really, really real?
Yeah.
I'm starting to get stressed out by all this.
You know what? I'm going to shut this down. We're not going to
Like, it's starting to make me feel like shit. You know what I'm saying?
And that's
like,
fair.
which is okay. Like, if we're going through it, I can split. Like, but I'm starting
No, because we're
it's almost
just
time.
about
We gotta
done.
go.
We're just about done with the show. Basically, we're actually a little over time. But I wanted to read that because I wanted to let people know Alex is a hypocrite, and
Aren't
she's
we
a
all?
loser, and she's been owned once again, exposed with facts and logic. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for 2 hours and 46 minutes of pure negativity. We love it. We got more views with the negativity than we did with the positivity. So we're going to be embracing our negativity more. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
This could be
And
my
you know
final
what?
show. It was really nice.
No, Brian, we're not
No,
going to do
no.
that. I'm just joking. That's just a bit. Come on, you know I'm a
No,
jokey
look,
guy.
I'm so sensitive. I'm such a sensitive artist.
Don't be such a nerd, bro.
You know what that was?
No.
It was a Hooters waitress that got arrested for drunk driving, and she
Damn.
got caught on. They posted the like police cam footage, so I clipped it so that we could
Don't
use
be
it on our
such a
soundboard.
nerd, bro.
I felt like it would come in handy, and it did.
Yeah, justice for that waitress.
Well,
Yeah. Beautiful.
listen, everybody, thank you for joining us. We hope you had a good week. We hope that this stupid, trivial bullshit, was able to give you at least a little bit of entertainment. That's what we were talking about at the beginning. You missed that, Brian. We were talking about sometimes the world is so awful that it feels self-indulgent to engage with this kind of petty drama, but also like it's fun and people like it, so why not? So I posted about it, and like more people came than normal. So thank you all for joining us.
You can
Thank
tell
you for
how not
being-
online I am because I had no clue what I was walking into today.
I know,
I'm
right?
envious of you.
My drawings were good though. I gotta say, people were impressed by my cartooning. They did not believe that.
Did
like,
I compliment the cartooning? Because I meant to.
Thank you.
I liked the close-up of her looking sad. I thought that was a really sweet drawing.
I love to read. I just love reading.
But not Bukowski because he's weird, dude. Anyways, thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching my video. If you really like it, then you should subscribe.
And also subscribe to our newsletter, elcaminoart.com. And also follow Brian Level on all the places that he's online. Follow Tony Gregori on all the places that he's online. Follow me and all the places I'm online, which is everywhere, even Twitter, because I love negativity.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Ooh.
Thank you all very much, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Hope we'll see you next week. Taking off, guys. Let's
Later.